What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Bob and Weave. This is, where are we at? Episode number
12.
12. This is episode number 12.
And I don't have red hair.
Zach does have a very red beard.
No.
There were some people, that commented on that. Something I posted on Instagram, somebody commented and said, I can see how you think it's a little red.
Yeah, I don't know.
Red bearded. That's Zach, by the way. That's the Weave.
Hi, guys.
Zach is back from his sabbatical. He missed the Star Wars episode.
I did. I wanted to call in on that, and it just didn't work.
Right.
It happens.
Busy drawing pictures.
Busy drawing pictures.
And we are joined by a guest today, sitting across the table from me here, is Mr. Boyce Littlefield.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, I've known Boyce for a while, don't know a whole lot about Boyce, but the reason he's here today is because we are continuing our series on the 2020 presidential candidates, and the candidate we're going to be discussing today is Andrew Yang, and Boyce is planted firmly in the Yang gang.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah,
I'm 100% committed.
Right. And Boyce is a content creator himself. I'll let him tell you about his YouTube channel that from nothing is blown up to a bigger following than us.
Yeah. But I've only been doing it for 1 year. So I just started last December, and it's been my 1 year anniversary, and I've gotten, a couple thousand followers. But I've done 100% Yang content for probably 6 months, 7 months of it, and it just exploded.
So how did that start? You were just a fan of him as a candidate and started talking about him?
Nope. I just stumbled upon him. I was looking at all the candidates. I said, okay, who do I want to? I want to hear all of it. So I started going through each candidate as they announced. I'd say, okay, let me look at their website and their platform and say, what's their top 3 things? And I'd say, okay, that sounds fucking stupid,
Right.
Pardon my French.
No, we're allowed to cuss here.
Yes, outstanding. I couldn't remember. But like I would go through each person's one. I was like, yeah, that sounds nice, but can it really happen? Probably not. Just then I got to his. It's like, well, those sound interesting. I doubt they'll happen. I don't see how it can happen. And I just moved on. Then I kept going back to him like, his sounds more reasonable. I kept going back to him like, I think he makes the most sense. I kind of just went from there. Then I started doing consistent videos, and all of a sudden just there's a demand. So I was like, well, shit, I guess I'll keep supplying it.
Right.
If they're going to listen, I'll keep talking.
And what is the name of your YouTube channel?
Mindful Skeptics Podcast.
The Mindful. Okay.
Yep.
So that are you doing audio podcasts too, or just the video now?
No, just video now.
Okay.
Yeah, the audio, because I originally started more discussing religion and politics, and I'm an atheist, so I more atheism, and I'd bring other people from different faiths on to discuss it.
Okay.
And so now I've just put that on the back burner. I'm like, whatever. We'll talk about that later.
And now you are
just committed politics. Yep, 100%
the arm of Yang.
I'm the Yang gang.
Yeah, you are one of the biggest content creators for Yang at the moment, right?
No.
Not for him, but as far as
one of the originals, like the first ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I started making his videos back in February. But there are some big channels.
Is there really?
Oh yeah, they got people that got like 30,000 subscribers already, and
But you're connected with some of those people, right?
oh yeah, I know them. Well, we all have a group chat, and I talk to them all the time, and I see them everywhere we go. So yeah, and they come on my channel, I go on theirs. We all kind of help cross pollinate and grow that way. But yeah, it's there's some people that are just better at it than me. Just all there is to it.
Well,
with video editing.
Same thing happens to us all the time.
That's life, though. There's always someone out there that's better than you.
Just because you did it first, don't make you the best.
Right. Yeah. I remember when I had the idea of starting a crowdsourced true crime investigative wrongful conviction podcast. And mine was the first, but it's not the best. I was listening to one called, what was it called? Culpable this weekend. As a matter of fact, maybe an upcoming episode of this. The reason was because the mother of the young man that was the subject, he was shot in the head, ruled a suicide. The parents don't think that it was a suicide. They think he was murdered. And there was a podcast called Culpable that covered it, and she wanted kind of my help with it. So I listened to it, and I was like, God damn it, they're good at this. They're really good at making podcasts. So what do you do? Do you have a day job?
Oh yeah, I do. I do physical therapy for home care.
Okay.
So I work all day.
And
I come home and do what I can.
Right.
Those other boogers are out there doing it 24/7. Like people quit their jobs and have moved to Iowa and New Hampshire and Vegas
to make all this
to just be
in
it.
Content.
Just to be in it.
Now you went to LA, right, for the debates?
Yeah, I've been to Detroit, Ohio, Chicago, and Iowa again, and then LA. I'm going back to Iowa this weekend. So
isn't there a big Vegas thing coming up that you're part of too? Or you're talking about being part of?
I want to, but that's a financial situation there to get to Vegas. It's
Gotcha.
just,
Well,
like,
so what is
not
that?
possible.
That's
They
a
just-
big dinner, right?
They had one dinner already. It's called the First in the West. And then they have another one scheduled. It's called Betting on Yang or Betting on Politics or something like that, where a bunch of professional poker players are going to do a gambling or do a tournament of some sort to help contribute
to his campaign.
to do a fundraiser. Yeah.
He seems like he's getting contributions in strange ways then, if he's getting
Yeah.
it through poker tournaments.
Yeah.
And,
It's pure grassroots.
I'm impressed at how because he is very much. I mean, he's an entrepreneur.
Yep.
So he's not a politician, which I like.
Definitely not.
Yeah. But he's I was the last debates, which I haven't made it through. I wasn't able to watch them the night they were on, and so but the entire debate is on YouTube. So I've been during my workouts watching 45 minutes of it at a time. And I was surprised to see, not surprised, but impressed to see that he's still hanging in there. He was one of the seven on the debate stage, held his own,
And
really
he killed
well.
it in L.A.
Yeah, that's the one that I was watching.
And he always consistently gets the absolute least amount of talking time. He gets the biggest uptick from it.
Right. Well, there's also kind of a thing where he's not getting press time. I mean, I've seen there's a lot of
It's serious, like blackout.
Yeah. Well, and the frustrating part about that is that's I've said for a while that's a lot of the reason why we ended up with Trump was because the press made him the story all the time. And it's like we've talked about this on this show a number of times, how the media, the news, first of all, isn't news anymore.
No.
And how they are shaping and manipulating things just by, I mean, he's doing what he's got. I've been reading through his platform. There's some stuff that I like, some stuff that I'm not so sure about. That I want to talk to you about a little bit because I think you probably have a little more in depth. And I wanted you here to have somebody that can explain the good side of the things that I see as maybe not so good.
Well, and I don't agree with 100% of them. There's 160 policies, so you can't agree with all of them. Just not likely.
Yeah, there's no candidate out there.
Unless you're cultish,
But what I love about what you just said is the fact that you can admit that, because that's a lot of problems in politics I see is that people are like, this is my, go back to the turmoil of the 2016 election with Hillary and
Bernie
and Hillary and Trump. Once we got into the main, into the actual general election, they were. I saw Arsenio Hall when I was in LA. Do a routine at he was working out for a new special at a comedy club out there.
Have you seen it?
I did.
It's on Netflix. It's so good.
Yeah,
that's one of my things that I can talk about all day.
It's comedy.
It's comedy.
Yeah.
And it's so good.
Well, so most of that special, I got to see him working those jokes out.
Oh, that's awesome.
At Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank. But the best thing he said, he's like the 2016 election. People are talking about I love Hillary or I love Trump. He's like, that was like deciding which Menendez brother you like the best.
Yeah.
But that was the thing is like people, it was so frustrating for me looking at it. It's like, this is tough, but it's not tough because I like them both. Like they're both, in my opinion, they were both horrible candidates.
Absolutely. Horrible people.
Right, yeah, and that was, but it was like as we talked about on here, there's the percentage of the right, the percentage of the left that are just, we love everything about let's forget about the bad things she did, and people on the right are like, let's forget about the bad stuff that Trump did. It doesn't matter. It's like no, you can still support them, but you should admit that they're a fuck.
Yeah.
Whichever one of them and that could apply to either one of them.
Yeah, and just to me, like I kind of summed up 2016 as like saying, do you want to get stabbed in the eye or kicked in the balls?
Right.
They're both going to hurt. One's going to make you permanently blind. The other one's going to make you maybe sterile.
Well,
which one can you live with?
It was an interesting. I guess we'll get into Yang here in a minute, since that's what we're here to talk about. But but that for me it was really difficult because I'm looking at I don't think either one of them have any morals.
No.
And I think Donald Trump is a pig. So like the right wing cheerleaders that are saying when the grab them by the pee and all. It's like, what do they say? Locker room talk. I'm like, no, I've grown up in locker rooms.
I was in a locker room once.
I work with guys. Me, Zach, and Mike are all the time out here working. None of us have ever uttered or muttered anything like that.
And the fire department, the firehouse.
Right. I've worked construction my whole life. No, that's not a normal. That's not just something guys say. Like it's.
I was in the military for 4 years on a ship with no women. We never once said anything like. I'm like, we'll say some crazy stuff. Yeah, let's be honest. But I've never said, I don't care what they think. I just go to them. They gotta love me. They have to let me do it.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
No.
So creepy.
So he ethically and morally couldn't stand him. But I liked some of his policies when it came to economics. But then it was like Hillary, the same thing. But that, like to me, it was just tough because for me it was like, yeah, but she's doing very official bad shit, like ignoring FBI subpoenas and like there's a lot of bad things. But it was like neither side could admit that their candidates had fault, and it makes the whole thing completely disingenuous to me.
That to me, Hillary disqualified herself with the Benghazi thing.
Yeah,
Most people died on her watch, and they had ignored phone calls. She's to me is disqualified.
right.
I don't
And
give a shit
you're a
who-
veteran, to be clear,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. And to me, if you can't lead that, you shouldn't get a promotion to the next one to have more responsibility. You failed here. You should be demoted and try again.
Right.
You're not going to get an upkick. But she did.
Right.
You know, because money says so, and that's
Well, and
all
money
it
and
is.
media, because that was, she was.
Yeah.
Well, and the DNC themselves really pushed Bernie out.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest mistake they made in 2016 was pushing Bernie out.
Yep. Bernie. I supported Bernie because I liked some of his stuff back then, but now it's gotten a little too extreme for me.
See, it was always a bit too extreme for me, but Bernie Sanders, there's a lot of stuff going on with like the Democratic candidates. I am, as I've said many times, I'm independent, and a lot of economic things, I tend to lean more to the right, and most social issues, I tend to lean more to
Right.
the left.
That's
so
how I am too.
so I'm kind of right in the middle there. But then there's also the thing about like the morals of a person. Like Bernie Sanders, I think is a genuine. He's a good man.
Yep.
And as I'm looking at the field now, Andrew Yang certainly falls into that category. I'm looking like he seems like a good, decent human being. Cory Booker, I felt that way about.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that on that episode. I mean, like that's Cory Booker felt like a guy that you could go like have a beer with,
exactly.
and I wanted to, you know.
Yeah.
And he's still hanging in there, but I don't think for much longer.
He didn't qualify for the last debates, and he's really struggling financially. Like he put an email out that says, "Hey, we need to make a push. We're not going to be able to hang in here." And
Right.
Then I haven't heard anything since.
Yeah.
Like I get emails from every single campaign though. I want to know what they're talking about,
Right.
so I can see them circling their wagons when they're starting to circle the drain a little bit.
Yeah. I get Pete Buttigieg's emails because, and he's another one that I think also was a good human being. Like also, I mean, we're going to get into Pete in one of these. I like Pete for a number of reasons. One, I think he's one of the more intelligent people on the stage. He's a vet. He's got some good ideas. He's also got some extreme ideas that I don't like.
Right.
But we'll get into it. But Pete lives 3 miles from here.
Yeah.
So I went through his contact forms on his website, trying to get him to come in person when we do the Pete Buttigieg episode.
Which would be amazing.
Yeah, what I
That'd be
accomplished was
crazy.
not getting any personal response from them, but getting emails 3 times a day from the campaign
For fundraising.
for fundraising and about what they're doing and everything.
That's
which
what
is
that's what it's all about.
So if anybody's got contact to Mayor Pete,
Yeah,
ex-Mayor Pete, possible future President Mayor Pete, get a hold of us.
yeah. When he comes into town,
They're not going to be in here for 3 months.
yeah, I'm sure he probably won't
He'll
be
be
home
in
for a while.
all 4 of the primary states for the next 3 months.
Well, I shouldn't say it's a bummer, but for me, it was like, well, he was one of the ones kind of a fringe candidate. It's like, well, he's not going to be doing real well once come Iowa and, the primaries. And so, at that point, they'll be hoping for some publicity. We can get him in here and talk to him. But then it's like, oh, he's polling through the roof in Iowa, New Hampshire.
He went all in on Iowa. He has 20 offices in Iowa
Holy
and
cow.
spent like $25 million in 3 months on Iowa. He's 100% out. And if he doesn't win Iowa, he's probably in trouble.
Yeah. Well, and I think right before we came in, I was looking at polls, and I think because he was leading Iowa for a while, but I think he's now down behind Biden
And Bernie.
and Elizabeth
And
Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. Now he's back down in 4th where he probably is going to stay.
Yeah, she's honestly the only one on that stage, and we're going to do an episode on her because I need to learn more about her. Because my impression of her and a lot of her policies and her debates and things like that so far is like she's the only candidate I've seen that I'm like I just can't, I cannot vote for.
The bullshit flag flies on her.
Well, there's a lot of this. Who are you going to believe, me or your own eyes? About the economy,
Yeah.
It's like, the economy, people are suffering and they're doing this like, lady, I live in the Midwest. Everybody I know has a job that didn't have jobs 4 years ago. Everybody's doing okay. The 401k, certainly there's room for improvement. To be like, everyone's suffering. It's like, no, they're not suffering. No one is suffering right now.
The suffering is really centralized.
Yeah.
It's mostly the poorest neighborhoods in the biggest cities.
Right, but that was the case
That's what it comes down to.
before, too.
Yeah, that's what it's always been that way.
Yeah, and that's, and like I said, there's certainly room for improvements, and I want to get into Yang some of his policies that he to kind of correct that course. I'm not saying there's not room for improvement, but to try to sit there and tell people who were unemployed for 3 years that also now have jobs and they're doing well and things are getting better that you're suffering, like, no, they're not.
Well, I call it the Chicken Little fallacy, where it's just like the sky's falling.
Exactly. That's what her
quite.
campaign feels like. But that being said, I don't want to be negative about anybody because we'll do an episode about her and we will learn. I'll learn more about the intricacies. I'm only judging her based on what I've seen in the debates.
Right.
And I still get mad when someone who's worth $12 million talks about how those, us poor folks are getting ripped off by the rich people. I'm like, you're the rich people, woman. Like,
you'll notice wherever she goes, her slang, her twang is a little bit higher or better
right
as she goes.
Like, get me a beer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the get me a beer thing.
Dude, that was cringeworthy.
Someone did message us about that and said that she does drink beer. I'm like, I don't know, she might, but I bet she doesn't ever say, I'm just gonna get me a beer, because just not the way she speaks.
Why, if you're starting a video, do you start the video and go, hold on, let me go get a beer real quick, now that I just started this video?
Right. For example, before we sat down here, today's episode of Bob and Weave is sponsored by Woodford Reserve.
Hashtag not a sponsor.
Right. And it's also sponsored in part by Busch Light.
Piss light.
Yeah, this is
Hashtag not a sponsor.
also sponsored in part by, what are you drinking? Game Fuel.
Hashtag I wish it was a sponsor.
Right. This is, by the way, a very rare, only time we've done an evening recording
It is.
of Bob and Weave.
That's a lie. No, that isn't a lie.
We did a weekend.
We did a weekend.
We did Bigfoot on the weekend. Usually we record in the mornings. Yeah, this is New Year's Day. Actually, we're recording this. We want to get this done.
Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah.
2020.
Last week, when you're watching this last week, Happy New Year. So
Shit.
before I ramble on too awful much, a couple things I want to know your hat. I've seen you out in public with the hat on.
Yep.
I know it has something to do with Yang, but it says math. What does that mean?
It's an acronym for Make America Think Harder.
Huh. Is that Yang's
That's the thing.
deal? Or is that your thing?
That's the shtick. No. This is his camp. This is not a campaign hat. This is a guy in Australia. He made 50 of these, and he gave them away on Twitter. So 50 people got this hat, and there's no more out there. So it's kind of an early adopter kind of a thing.
So if I want to make America Think Harder hat, I can't get one.
You can make one.
Right.
They don't have a copyright on math, I plan on doing it. I'm gonna make some of my own probably later on down the road. But the campaign has them, but those are kind of the quality's not great. It's just a cheap hat. They want to get it out there to make some money and get the visual. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a lot of shirts, a lot of hats.
All right. So rather than me talk through what I'm reading about Andrew Yang's bio.
So hold on, one thing. While you're talking about apparel, let's talk about your shirt for a second.
Truckers
for Yang.
That's right.
So, I mean, that's a huge movement right now? Is Truckers for Yang?
We're trying to make it a movement.
Okay.
So there's going to be over 3 million truck drivers going to lose their jobs long haul truck driving when the Tesla truck comes out.
Okay.
So that's kind of one of his things is like, guys, we men and women, we need to prepare for this huge shift when Uber and the semis replace a lot of drivers, period.
So is that like Teamsters behind him, or he's trying to get Teamsters behind him?
We have a semi driver named Fred the Felon. He's a
That's
literal felon.
Right.
He's a literal felon, and he drives trucks now.
Which I saw Yang is hoping to get him to be able to vote again.
Yes.
It's one of his issues.
Mm-hmm. And so Fred started his own super PAC so he can collect donations and then wrap his truck with a Andrew Yang policies and the whole 9 yards. You gotta look it up. It's crazy. I've been in it. It's impressive.
Nice.
So he's going cross country all year round.
Right.
And so it's a lot of eyeballs that are behind the semi reading the policies while they're driving.
That's cool.
So it's good exposure. It's a billboard.
Well, and what you said about the Tesla thing, I think I read something about that there was he's very much wanting to move technology forward, but also is trying to create a plan for America to handle that when all these workers lose their jobs because of it.
Yep. And the big thing is right now only so many people are benefiting from this technology. It's
right.
The top people, the Amazons and the Netflix and whatnot. They're displacing a lot of jobs
Right.
quickly. And when this self-driving automated truck and cars come out where the government's going to be, okay, they're safe, let's do this. Uber already has cars ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Google has cars ready to go. And Tesla has a semi-truck that's already been designed. And there's actually, I think, 40 on the roads in Arizona, New Mexico on the flattest, straightest roads just to get them to safely stay in the lane with a driver behind the wheel, but they're not touching it. Like they're literally on the road
Is
already.
this something you really think is going to happen?
It's already happening. It is happening. Like
Shit.
there's like, I think it's 40 or 400. I can't remember. I could be off, but it's a lot of
See,
trucks.
that feels like the kind of things that were like the lobbyists would put a stop to it, and that's why we need to have candidates that aren't, I guess.
Yeah, you can't stop
pandering to the
technology.
lobbyists.
You can't stop technology.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say well, let's not call it technology, but look at the medical field.
Mhm.
Like, you don't think there could be a cure for cancer right now?
Oh, no, that's where lobbyists become the problem.
That's exactly my
Yes.
point. Is there's a whole lot of people and a whole lot of companies that make a whole lot of money, and this is my tinfoil hat moment.
Mm-hmm.
That make a lot of money off of cancer.
Yep.
And if
AIDS
someone makes a little blue
mhm.
pill that cures cancer, a lot of people are.
Some unemployed folks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I know.
Pfizer.
Yeah, my mother has I guess she's kind of been cured of it. A serious autoimmune disease called scleroderma
Mhm.
that was going to kill her, and the treatment for it was chemotherapy because chemo wipes out your immune system.
Yes, it does.
But they can only go so far with it. So for my mom, the only way to completely wipe this out is to completely destroy her immune system completely. So they did a process called stem cell treatment, where
Yes.
they drew out her stem cells, incubated them, and since they had her good stem cells sitting here, they then hit her with so much chemo it just wiped. Like, she had to be in a bubble for weeks
Right. Yeah.
because she had no immune system.
No T cells.
Yep. And then after that, they put her own stem cells back in her, and then it takes like a year for her immune system to reboot, and it's working. I mean, it worked. She's getting around now. Her skin's softening. All this happening, but her doctor was like, "Yeah, we're doing this for cancer, but just not in the United States."
Yep.
And
That's
it's like,
crazy to me.
It's
That is
because
absolutely crazy to me.
Well, it's because other countries don't have the regulations we do.
right. Well, and they don't have the fucking lobbyists that we do. Because
no.
when I talked to her doctor, and I was like, "The way you're describing this sounds to me like it would cure cancer," and he's like, "Yeah, it totally would cure cancer. We just aren't allowed to do it here."
Jesus
Or it
Christ.
significantly increased mortality rates.
Yeah.
Significantly.
Now, granted, there's a risk factor in doing it, and we were, it was touch and go with my mom because they have no immune system for a
Yeah,
while,
she catches a cold, she's in trouble.
right?
Yeah, she can get pneumonia.
But yeah, I mean, there's just so anyway. That's my
I mean, that's legitimately how my mother-in-law passed away.
Yeah.
Was after chemo, she was through that, and she caught a cold. I mean, a simple cold,
right.
and that's how she passed away.
Yeah, it does because their immune system just gets taken down to shit.
That's crazy.
So tell me a little bit about Andrew Yang's bio before we get into his policies.
Well, his background is that he is both his parents immigrated here from Taiwan and went to college at an Ivy League school, nice schooling, became engineers and I think a nurse or something like that. But his dad has like 60 something patents, and he came here to live the American dream, literally. Had 2 sons and they succeeded and went to college, But then he got out of college and he started a test prep company, an online one, and it made a lot of money, got bought out, and he used that money to start his own nonprofit to create jobs in the worst places like Cleveland, Detroit, and like, I'm trying to think, like Mississippi, just places there's no employment.
Right.
He goes there and he kind of teaches entrepreneurs in college, like, hey, this is how you start a business. We'll help you with funding and mentorship.
Right.
So he wanted to help create jobs. But that's why he ran for president. He's like, I helped create 100,000 jobs, but 400,000 jobs were lost to automation.
Right.
I'm running up hill in quicksand. This isn't working.
Well, and as far as his ability to build a business, I mean, you kind of skipped through real quick, but from what I read, like, he started that test prep company from nothing, like just a little seed, started this company and built it into a multi-million-dollar.
The number 1 test prep company in the country. Yeah, he's successful.
Yeah, started with one man, so he knows how to build a business.
Yep, and how to manage, how to lead.
I just started giggling because you were talked about he went in to help these struggling places, and in my head, as soon as you said that, I'm thinking like third world country, and then you come in with Cleveland.
And Detroit.
in Detroit.
Right.
Yeah, got me.
Which
Sorry.
are almost like third world
I
here.
get giggling real easily about silly things.
Yeah, it doesn't
so-
take much.
No, it doesn't take much at all.
Well, if you go to Detroit,
No, I've been there several
Also,
times.
as this episode
Baghdad.
as this episode moves on, it should be noted once again that the only person at the table that's not drinking is Zach. So
Yeah.
when he's giggling, that's
Mr.
just
Giggles.
Zach's
No,
sober
that's just me
giggling.
giggling.
Yeah. I'm drinking a whole bottle of bourbon, I think, while we're sitting here, and Boyce is drinking
Yes, a beer.
Bush Light.
I just get giggling.
I wish I knew their
1.5% alcohol.
their phrase. 'cause
I think that's the same amount this is.
your game fuel.
About the same amount.
But so that it's such an interesting approach, and I think that's what kind of got my attention with Yang is like nobody like it's such a weird, obscure thing to think about how automation is doing great things for our country, but it's also going to cost jobs, and we need to have a plan. I mean that's the thing that sets him apart from the other candidates.
Yeah, forward thinking, period. Like one of his main slogans is not left, not right, forward. Like,
Right.
Not left wing, not right wing. We're going this way.
I really like that. That means a lot to me.
Me
To be
too.
honest.
And he seen my only frustration with him in the little bits that I've seen from what they show him on the debates or anything you see from him on the media is, and I feel like this about most of the candidates is I feel like they're pandering to a base on certain issues, and they are, I think, afraid to get off the wagon. So for one being our securing our borders. You know, that they're all, like, I don't believe, like, Andrew Yang, from what I've read about him and seen it, he seems like a very intelligent guy.
Yeah.
But he's with all the other candidates about, and I guess that's one of the issues we'll talk about now is, because I'm curious what you think about it, that is it 1325, whatever a law that says basically it's illegal to come into this country without going through the proper method.
Right.
That they all want to abolish this law so it's no longer illegal to come into the country.
Oh, no. See, now, I don't know if that's 100% of them, but I know some of them believe that it should be no longer a crime in criminal court. It should be a civil civil crime.
Right, and the way I'm trying to find it right
civil
now.
infraction. That's what Julian Castro and Bernie, and I believe Beto, some of the other people did that live along the border mostly, and I think Kamala Harris is another one that did. I can't be 100% true on factual on that one, but Yang's, this is a country of immigrants. We want immigrants. We want to come the right way. That's just simple. So Yang leans a little more libertarian on the border, or all
Right.
immigration. He wants to expand the work visas and the school visas to have a little more, I would say, transparency and change how people become citizens, because right now it takes you like 10, 12 years to become a citizen.
See, and I'm all for that.
Like speed that thing up.
So
So you
he-
come here and
I-
pay taxes.
I
Let's go.
just found what I was looking for. So there's 14 candidates, including him, that favor wiping out Section 1325 out of the federal law, which is the law that makes it illegal to cross the border illegally, for lack of a better term, without documentation, without going through the process. And that's like, I feel like, I just feel like they can't all actually believe, because Yang, going through the rest of his, so he's one of them that believe that should be repealed, that it shouldn't be illegal. He was one of the ones that raised his hand when they said, should it,
Yeah, that was a shit show.
right. And that's what I mean. I can't believe, because for me, like, here's my issue, and I don't know what you think about that. I'm curious what you think about it with your position politically. To me, any candidate that says we need stricter gun laws and we need to stop all these Zach's favorite word, assault rifles, from coming into the country, right? But all the we need to get these guns off the street. If that same candidate also says we need to have an open border, fuck off. Like,
Yeah,
you don't
doesn't
have my
make
vote.
sense.
Because, and they have to know that it's a fact, millions of guns and drugs and everything else, but specifically guns, come across that border illegally. Putting that wall up and actually securing our border would stop not all. There's still other problems. Obviously, there's the gun show loophole and all that. There's a lot of different things that need to be done.
Yeah.
But a big primary problem for illegal guns getting in the hands of people in our country is they're coming over the border.
The gun show loophole pisses me off too, because it's not really a thing. People make that into a bigger thing than it really is, but it's still the exact same. You have to go through a background check to buy a gun.
Not in Indiana.
Yeah, and anywhere you buy a gun, you have to go through a background check.
So what is the gun show loophole? Because I have years and years and years ago, I've gone to gun shows and bought where you could just buy like a used gun.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're buying secondhand
Right.
at that point.
Yeah.
You're not buying from a distributor. But
Right.
that's not a gun show loophole. I could do the same thing right now sitting at this table.
Right.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's at a gun show.
Oh, right.
They make this big thing called a gun show loophole that doesn't exist.
Right.
It's a private sale to a private sale. That can happen anywhere.
Right.
Right,
So basically, it's like if you or I set up a booth at a flea market, and it's,
Yeah.
but see, even I know in Michigan at
but-
least, if I sell you not a long gun but a handgun,
Yeah, you have to register it.
you have to go through a registration process to do that.
But if you go to purchase a gun at a store or an actual
Oh, yeah.
licensed vendor,
Yeah.
you have to have a background check.
Right.
Which a lot of these places at gun shows actually have they're real vendors. They're not people there selling.
Right.
Right.
So I mean that the gun show loophole that people make up really doesn't exist like they think it does.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a label.
It is. It's just a
label
It's
label.
another talking point, but
Yep.
um,
Trigger word they can
Right.
use. To be
Which
like,
we're gonna
And
do.
clearly it gets me.
right.
or
Yeah.
just rally the troops. Also, be like, yeah, that's right. You
Right.
know?
Well, I think that it gets any of these issues get someone who actually knows something about the particular topic. You know, when because I get frustrated watching all of it. You know, whether I'm watching Trump talk or some of these candidates talk or anybody when they're using their talking points in their like whatever they're speaking about. I happen to know. I've researched and like that's wrong. Obama. I think I've said about 20 times every time it gets referenced, and one day we'll do a whole episode on it. But the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, I say, like, I think I referred to it as an abortion one time. With like, that was a big fat fucking lie. The whole
It's
thing.
a whole mess.
Right. Well, the thing was, no one knew it except me. Not me, the only one. But I had private insurance. You know, there's all these people, all my friends, especially my left wing friends who obviously supported because it was Obama, that you know they were in a union and had employer provided insurance.
Right.
It literally had zero effect on them. They're like, it's great, we're providing. I had my own insurance and I watched it get shit on, canceled, go away, started paying 3 times as much for a fraction of the coverage. And then I'm watching everybody like, we've given so many people insurance. It's like, you're right, you gave them, which I know, the bronze plan, which has a $7,000 deductible. You gave a poor person a plan where it does
It'll never cover
nothing
anything.
until they pay $7,000 out of pocket.
Yeah.
And are making them, when they're already poor,
Poor
pay for that.
Poor her.
Yeah, like it was a shit anyway. But the same type of thing. There's like talking points, right? Same type of thing with that. But that's my point. Is anything that like I'm looking for these hypocrisies. Like it's the popular thing to do to say we should have an open border right now on that stage, but it's also a popular thing to say that we need to control guns.
Well, I don't think anyone says open border. Like you can't literally walk across. The thing is, they want to change it where it's not. You're going to go to criminal court.
So what do they want to do? Like,
They want to make it a civil infraction.
'Cause-
So you got to go to civil. It's a civil.
but do you get arrested and detained?
I don't think it'd be necessarily detained. That's the problem.
Right.
They want to be like, okay, then you have to have a sponsor. I was like, well, then you go in legally that way. Then so it's not a really good option. I think they raise their hand. There's policies you get elected with, and there's policies you're actually going to do shit with.
Right.
You know what I mean? So 160 policies, you can't do all those.
Right.
You'd
Well,
be lucky to do 2 in a
And
term.
that's what I mean. I wish that, but and I get it. It's because of the media. It's because, like I said, I don't believe Pete Buttigieg. Like I said, I've done a lot of research on Mayor Pete, and it's like from everything, the consistencies of the things he believes, the things he's done in South Bend, his background, his military service, all this, like you do not believe what you're saying. Like you do not. I don't believe. Maybe I mean I can't speak for him, but it's like, come on, man.
He's a big panderer, that's for sure.
They all are, really. But Yang, and I guess that's what I'm getting at, is Yang, for his defense, is to me, on that last debate, and most of them, when I've seen him speak, when you actually get to see him speak, is the least pandering.
Yeah,
At least, so when they were
he's
talking,
consistent at least.
they were talking about, it's not on his platform, but they were talking about the last debate, the impeachment that's going on.
Yeah, right.
And if I remember correctly, he was the only one that was like, he was like, yeah, well, I mean, I think something needed to happen, but he was like, but we need to move on from that.
Yeah, what he's saying is it's the right thing to do. Like, he clearly was leveraging financial aid for a political favor against a rival. He says, yeah, that's obviously what happened. That's what I read. That's what it looks like it happened. He goes, I think we should impeach, but I don't think it's going to help. It's not going to go anywhere, so why do it?
Do you want to talk about
Why
that for a minute? The
focus on
impeachment?
Yeah, I don't care.
I mean, at some point, it's something I want to do an episode on.
I know you're talking about your last episode about you want to talk about impeachment sometime. And I was like, oh, it might
Well,
come
it's
up.
just it's obviously, I have even though I see both sides and I don't like our president, it's clear that I probably lean more towards the right than the left, and you lean more towards the left than the right. So that's why I want to talk about you here. So
I call myself center left.
Yeah, and I would probably
Slightly.
be. I say independent, but I would probably be center right, because of more, especially the financial issues.
Yeah.
But
And I hate both of you guys.
right, Zach hates everyone today. He came in grumpy.
I'm grumpy as fuck
He
today.
came in super grumpy on New Year's.
I'm going to give him a hug no matter what happens
Right.
today.
I like that. I
Yeah.
appreciate those.
If you had listened to our whole last episode, you would have heard the "I love you" exchange with me and Mike at the end of the Star Wars episode.
Did you have it? I guess we'll have to listen.
I said I made him do it. So at the end, at the end of all of our episodes, I always say thanks for being my friend, and he says I love you, buddy, and I say I love you.
Yeah.
That's how we always end our show. I said thanks for being my friend, and I made him say he's like I love you, buddy, and I said I know.
Oh,
Got him.
well done.
Yeah.
Call back.
Nice. I love it.
But like, I guess tell me if you disagree with this. It appears to have been the biggest fucking mistake and backfire against the Democrats.
It's just a waste of time and money.
Yeah, and, well, that was so regardless of, and I guess that's from so regardless of whether you think what he did was wrong, I'll tell you my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What he did was wrong. I also think every fucking president ever has done the exact same thing.
Joe Biden did it. It's on video.
Right.
He did the exact same thing.
Obama did it on video. Remember when Obama got caught with the hot mic with the Russian vice president?
Yeah.
When he's like, he's like, yes, we're not going to be doing whatever I don't remember what the thing was. And they shut the cameras off, and he's like, look, after the election's over, I'll be able to give you whatever you want. But like even that, like Republicans, I was like, if you don't think that's how
It's all done.
these negotiations and shit gets done, like whatever, but
Yeah.
regardless if you think that was impeachable, the minute they started, I was like, okay, there's a lot of things that could be done by our government right now, and how much time and money is the House? In Nancy Pelosi's defense, I'm not a fan, but in her defense, she didn't want to do it. She said she wouldn't do it unless it was going to be bipartisan, which is the way the Constitution is written. It's not supposed to be a partisan thing. But in not her defense is she got bullied in, and she went ahead and did it anyway. But it's like, this is not like Richard Nixon. This is not like a very clear-cut, obvious,
Right.
both sides are going to impeach this guy.
Right.
They knew damn well at the end of all this, no matter what happened,
It's going to die in the Senate.
it was going to die in the Senate.
So you just wasted 3 years.
3 years and how many millions of dollars, billions
All
of
of them.
dollars,
All of them.
all of the billions.
You ever watch professional wrestling? It's the same thing.
Yeah, you already know the score.
Right.
Like, that's
It's the same thing.
well, that's
Know
the
the
thing.
outcome.
That's actually what Andrew Yang's point was in
Yeah.
the debate. He goes, we need to stop focusing on obsessing. He really pissed off a lot of people. He says,
Right.
we need to stop obsessing over Donald Trump and the impeachment process. It's going to go nowhere. It's like watching a baseball game, and you know what the score is at the end.
Right.
It's going to be a 1-0 game.
Well, but Yang, before the impeachment stuff, a couple debates ago, Yang was when he really first got my attention. Was they're all like, I tune into the debates. I want to know, what are you guys going to do? What's your platform? What are you going to do for me? Where do you stand on the issues?
Yeah.
And all I heard was Trump sucks, Trump sucks, Trump sucks, Trump sucks, Trump sucks, Trump. Ugh, try saying it 10 times fast.
It's too much.
I'm not Donald Trump. And Yang was the only one that was like, look, like this, we need to stop focusing on him. We're not, we just need to say what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But, with the impeachment, when it was, it's like they knew where it was going to go. And I think, and what I was researching all this afternoon before we came in here, from the start of the impeachment inquiry to now, when technically he hasn't been impeached yet because they haven't sent it to the Senate. During the process, so what it looks like is building up to it, everybody thought, ooh, that they really got some dirt on him. And his approval ratings were down because everybody thought they had some dirt on him. And then they had the hearings and they said, that's it. His approval rating went up 6 points.
Yep.
When he got impeached.
Yeah, they're helping him.
Yeah.
Did you see the representative from Indiana in the impeachment trial? I don't care how you feel about the whole thing. That dude is my hero.
What's his name?
And I don't remember what his name is. It doesn't matter. They gave every representative 30 seconds to talk.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. That's all they got. And he went up there and said, I'm going to give you the list of everything Donald Trump has done. And he stood there for 30 seconds and said nothing. And then the lady said, your time is up. He goes, thank you, and walked off.
Might as well
It
make
was
a show
just
out
like,
of it.
it doesn't even matter if you're like for Donald Trump or against Donald Trump. I just love the show. Of
You have
like,
to say well played.
yeah,
sir.
he
That's
just
great
went up there
theater.
and stood there.
It's great theater. He's done the following things done wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
the,
awesome.
But the thing is, so like on the debate stage, they're all, they all kind of confirmed how they're in support of impeachment. Although Yang was kind of reserved about it and was trying to redirect off of it. But it's like, do y'all realize they just gave you the biggest uphill battle ever? Like, and I think I said on the show, but I know I've said when they started this impeachment inquiry is going to get us another fucking 4 years with Trump. Because it's going to take all those people in the middle that might have been leaning towards Democrat now are identifying everyone on that stage with that circus.
As actors.
Yep. And now it's so.
I call it the orange man bad thing. It's like everybody comes up there and like opening statements for one debate, right? So okay, you got 1 minute, and Kamala Harris is like, Donald Trump, orange man bad, justice.
Right.
The end.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. And then Elizabeth Warren, orange man bad. I'm not Pocahontas. Have me a beer.
Right.
Okay. And then Bernie, orange man bad. Corporate meat are bad. Everybody's bad. Tax. No. Wealthy people bad. Thank you very much.
Right.
Like he does his fingers. I like
Right, yeah. Bernie does always do the fingers. Yeah. If you're not watching that video, you're missing out.
And his head is like 6 inches in front of his shoulders and down his spot. I watch too much. But then after all that shit, and Yang's like, we need to solve the problems that got Donald Trump elected.
Yeah.
We lost 4 million manufacturing jobs. Now we're going to lose 4 million jobs of drivers.
Well, I love that. I love that he admitted, because was it this debate? It was this past debate when he pointed out the things that got Trump elected.
He said he got the problems right. His solutions were wrong. That's all. Mm-hmm. It's the same. He says, he got the right problems, but his solutions are build a wall and demonize immigrants and da-da-da-da. He's like, I see it differently. And
right. But see some of that, to me, some of that's more talking points. Like, for example, even me saying, like, I don't think we should have an open border. Like, the thing that's been, like, oh, you don't think there's an open border? You're a racist. Like, I'm not racist. I just think that I don't care what race you are. I don't care what country you're from.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know who's coming into our country so that we can have security checkpoints when people come into our country.
Yeah, you gotta secure your border, or you're not a country.
Right. It's like, but like that's not like, to me. Like, I mean, Trump definitely has, in an attempt to make his points, demonize where he's like, these criminals and stuff are coming over here. The thing is, he's not wrong in the fact that there are criminals and drug traffickers coming over there.
Yes.
But obviously not all of them are.
Yes,
the overwhelming majority are just
not.
normal people that are trying to get away.
Especially they're like seeking asylum from a country that they're going to get killed in if they stay. Like Venezuela and all those people are nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're like, I'm going to walk 3,000 miles that way.
Right.
So it's better than sitting here.
But I think there's this game that goes on both sides where it's like, for example, Buttigieg just said something the other day about incarceration for people that with drug offenses. Mm-hmm. And it was because I think all the candidates want to legalize marijuana. I'm not a marijuana smoker.
Not all of them, but most of them, yes.
Who doesn't?
Bernie. No, not Bernie. Shit, who was that? There's like 2 of them that said they don't think it's Biden.
Biden doesn't.
Biden's
right.
old school. He's like, no.
Well, Biden's the moderate of the group.
Him and Pete's considered the moderate. Amy Klobuchar is the other one. Amy Klobuchar and Joe Biden do not support legalization.
I like her too, though. I want to do an episode on her too.
Yeah, she won't be around much longer, I don't think, personally.
I was surprised she was on because 100% honest, didn't know who she was until this last debate, and I'm like, she's one of the last 7. I started researching her a little bit. But she was definitely more moderate.
Yeah, significantly. Just she's pure centrist. That's her and Biden, just pure centrism.
Right.
And orange man bad.
Right. Everybody orange man bad.
That's it.
Well, let me punch through some of these, and we'll see. You can expand on them and tell me your thoughts on them. Because one thing we want to do is for this idea behind this, besides just being entertaining, because we're fucking charming people, the three of us, is to give people information about these candidates so they're deciding who to vote for. So first on the list, I'm on the same website I was on the last time. It's politico.com, and they have where you can meet the candidates and learn about their platforms. And I just like the way this website's laid out. And the first one is criminal justice and capital punishment. He wants to abolish it. I 100% agree. Cash bail reform. He wants to reform or reduce it. Agree with that too. And he wants to eliminate private prisons.
Yes.
How are you with all three of those?
I 100% agree. Our criminal justice system is screwed up and it needs a serious reevaluation, because for the freest country in the world, we sure are incarcerated at the highest rate,
Right.
Seriously. And that's your thing, man. That's why I'm going to have
Right.
you on to talk about that. I'm like, hey, what have you seen that,
The private prisons are horrible. I mean,
Yeah,
disgusting.
they're absolutely ridiculous.
Mhm.
I mean, to have that. I mean, it's a business.
Right.
You're making money off this.
You're making money off of it, and it's lost the government oversight. Which I'm not a big fan of government oversight, but there needs to be something, not just
Well, not just that, is when you build a new prison, say in Indiana, that woman's correction facility in like Fort Wayne, I think it is. I have a friend that works there. They have a contract with the township, says, hey, we're going to come here and create 4,000 jobs or whatever. You got to keep this thing at 85% capacity,
right.
or we'll fine you, for not keeping.
keep
they're
them
like,
in.
They're like, go down to Smith Street or whatever, or Martin Luther King Drive, and kick,
Right.
whatever. That's how they just go to the bad neighborhood they deem as
Right.
bad. And they put more black people in jail.
They fill them up with minorities.
They say, well, we need some more brown skins up in this motherfucker,
Yeah.
And it's simple.
I was there's so much in the, I mean, I could go on and on and on about criminal justice reform, and some of the stuff is not in here, but because they're just in too deep to be covered in a basic platform. But our recidivism rate is ridiculous. We're not reforming anyone. I have someone close to me that's about to go to prison actually right now. Young guy who did something stupid, and he's going to get locked up for a few years. And he deserves a few years to get locked up for what he did. But to me, it's heartbreaking, because it's like, God, what are the odds he's going to pull out of that? No one in our country goes to prison and comes out reformed. You don't go into prison and come out better.
Come out hardened.
Yeah, and like, this is a young kid. It's like, so when he comes out after that, number one, he's a felon. Can't vote, which is another topic we'll get to in his platform. Well, I guess I can just say he believes that felons should, once you serve your time, you should be able to vote.
Once you're off, you served your debt to society. Is what the language says. You served your debt to society. Now you're a member of society,
It's
including
ridiculous
voting.
because I don't think a lot of people realize what a felony is.
3 misdemeanors because of Clinton.
Yeah, well,
To be honest with you.
my my older brother was charged with a felony because he got over $5,000 behind on child support, and that is felony.
Yep.
So he can't vote anymore
Because of child support.
because he lost his job and couldn't pay his child support for a period of time.
Amazing.
Yeah. So like, think about that for a minute. It's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, there should be programs, and Cory Booker was a big one on some of those things, like programs put in place to actually reform and educate, and have programs put in place after they get out, to be able to reintegrate into the world.
Yeah.
Because all that happens is they go in and Ed Aids from Truth and Justice, our season 2. He was lucky. He was black and he was 6'7" and 300 pounds. Yeah, you see,
He was 300 pounds.
well in that. So we're looking right now in our studio at the pictures. So I'm 6'1", 280, standing next to him right there,
He's a big fella.
and you see the top of my head's at about his chin. Yeah, he's a big boy. So Ed didn't want to be involved in any gangs.
He didn't have to be.
Never was, but he didn't have to be.
Right.
But
I'm going to be affiliated if I'm going to get in trouble.
you're going to have to be. And that's the thing. And that's, so our season 3 case, Jesse Eldridge, was a white guy, he's a little taller than me, I think, my size. And he was, a tough guy when he went in, but he's had to fight his way through 20 years of prison.
Yep.
Because he doesn't want to be with the white supremacist gangs.
Right.
And he just wants to be left alone. But you can't, like, if that's, like, it breaks my heart when he's telling me, he's like, yeah, if you look at my disciplinary record, I've had 10,000 fights in 20 years because I have to. That's how I have to survive.
That's what I don't like about. I don't say I don't like. I think it's just comical about jail. There's not like just the white guy club. You got to be a supremacist.
Right. Yeah. It's the white guys that hate the black guys and the black guy.
You can't just be the white dude.
Right.
You got to be the white guy that hates black people and Mexicans and anybody else.
Which, by the way, if I go in, sign me up for the black guy party because they have way more in there because the way our whole criminal justice system works. There's like 80% minority in there. Why would you want to be in the white guy club? I want to be in the black guy club.
Only hatred.
Right.
Only hatred can keep you in that corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So election security. So he's the only one, and he's the technology guy that says he thinks there should be voting on mobile apps.
He's a proponent for blockchain.
What is that? I see that here.
Blockchain is like securing your data like a bank does. So you can use, like if I can go to Walmart and file my taxes while I'm taking a dump in the bathroom,
Right.
I'm pretty sure we could figure out how to secure it so we could vote and poll, like get better polling results too.
That's me being a boomer, I guess. I'm not actually a boomer, but my
I'm
kids call
older
me
than you, and
boomer
I'm
all
not
the
a
time.
boomer jerk.
I know, but my kids call me boomer every time. Right. Well, all I think about is
I'm surrounded by these old guys in here.
Yeah, I'm the boomer, man. I got you by a decade, bro.
Old Bob's like 58.
Well, because
62.
Boyce is older
No,
than me.
last episode you said 92. I heard that.
Yeah.
He got older through
You
the day.
got older.
But like those secure banking apps have been hacked.
Yes.
You know, so it's like that just to me seems like such a massive risk.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
we're worried about Russian meddling. Like how
Yeah.
many people do you think will be trying to break into that?
Put the Bitcoin guys on it.
Well, that's what blockchain is.
I mean, they figured
use.
that shit out.
Yeah.
That's what blockchain is. That's why Bitcoin and all the other current cryptocurrencies secure their currency with
That
blockchain.
shit seems pretty tight.
Well, no one's trying to
So-
steal it because it's pretend money.
It is pretend money, but it can get you a for real Ferrari.
It'll get you a for real house in the Hamptons. Yeah. Well, the thing is, he's saying let's go towards that, but we're still gonna have to have paper backup.
Right.
But then we can eventually learn that it can demonstrate it's trustworthy. Because right now, even the voting machines we have right now can be hacked.
Right.
They have been hacked. Like some 12-year-old in Miami hacked one, like in 12 minutes, like in several minutes.
Right.
Changed everything.
Yeah. So well,
It's right that right now.
So I guess I'm just this is my lack of understanding of technology. I like the forward thinking aspect of it, but I look at it like if someone can hack one of those machines, what are they going to do if the information is just going into outer space?
Yeah, to the cloud.
Yeah, it's like just sending it to outer space and
Wherever the
hoping
cloud is.
that Sputnik doesn't intercept it and do something
Yeah.
with it. I'm sure it's probably more complicated than that.
Well, and to me, this is one of those policies. It's an ideology policy because there's nothing you can really do anything with anytime soon because the technology's not ready.
Right.
He can say that, but if he does 2 terms in 8 years, this might not even be ready still. So it's one of these ideological things saying this is my ideas.
Well, and it's nice to know that's how he feels about it, and I like
forward thinking, but he can't. He's not really going to do anything with it.
right. And I do
Technology's
like
not ready.
like the fact that he's forward thinking and trying to make some changes. Some of the stuff, affordable housing, subsidies for renters and homeowners, they pretty much all. Oh no, only one candidate. Only Kamala Harris
Has
agrees
what?
with him.
She gone.
Yeah, she's so none.
Yes.
Well, so the way this website works is each policy.
Okay, you got me laughing on that one. She gone.
we barely dodged a
Oh, we
bullet on
squeaked
that one. Senator Kamala Harris has introduced legislation to create a new tax credit for renters who spend more than 30% of their income on rent.
Whew. Well, yeah, because she's in California.
Yeah. Andrew Yang's plan for a universal basic okay, we'll get into it because that's
Yeah.
his big one. We'll
That's
get into
one of
that.
the big 3. Yeah.
So that's next. So income inequality. This he's the only one that this is kind of the basis for his whole.
It's his flagship proposal.
So
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about explain it. I've got it written here, but you can explain it how you understand it, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. But I will say, when I was reading about it, it just blew my mind. I'm like, what? But explain it and convince
So,
me.
the premise of the freedom dividend is the universal basic income, and his is $1,000 a month to anyone over 18 till the day you die. Period. Citizen.
Right.
So this is one of those domino effect policies. Is like, okay, if we put this in place, then you got to make the pathway to citizenship easier, at least feasible, because it's expensive very expensive to come here and become a citizen.
Well, we already have a hell of a deficit if every single human being in America gets $1,000 a month.
Yes. Yes. But he's saying that it will decentivize people from going to jail because you can't get it if you're in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Decentivize people from coming here illegal. You won't get the money.
Right.
You want to come here in proper channels. That's the reward for being a legal citizen. And our birth rates are going down. We need immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, hey, we need to get more people to come here because we're dying off rather quickly. And we're going to die off real quickly if the boomers start going out.
Right.
And so he's just saying we need to incentivize immigration, legal immigration. And this is just another way of saying you can come here illegally, but guess what?
Is that a big part of one of the big reasons for it is
No.
is the immigration? It's just another.
No, it's just one of those domino effect things. You know,
Uh-huh.
it's like, okay, then what's next?
Because you know the big question that I have
How do you pay for it?
is, how the
Okay.
fuck are we going to pay for it?
Perfect.
How many billions of people are in America?
320 million.
320 million people.
Yes.
So that's
Mhm.
320 million times 1,000. Zach, want to do the math?
I'm real good at math.
Per
like
month. I mean,
72
But that's
Dollars.
only people. It's not
million.
over 18.
right.
So you take the kids out, it's like 20% off of that. You know,
Okay.
so you're talking about 200 million people that'll probably qualify for this.
Okay.
So the projections is like between
Billion, 20 billion. It's
Carry
like
the
just
four.
$3 to $4 trillion is the rough estimate
per year.
per year. Yes.
Okay.
And so he's saying that
God
it
damn, that's a
also-
lot of money.
Yes, it is. But what he's saying is that it'll also incentivize people to opt into it because it's not for everybody. Like you got to opt into it. So if you're on welfare and you're getting food stamps, you can't get food stamps and this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way of incentivizing you to get off food stamps and go to work. Because on food stamps right now, like I'm a product of the welfare system.
Uh-huh.
If my mom worked 32 hours a week, we got $200 a month in food stamps.
Mm-hmm.
If she worked 34 hours a week, we got 50.
Right.
They penalized you and made you poorer for working too much.
Right.
They de-incentivize
Well, it
work.
depends on how you look at it.
It's de-incentivizing you. You have less
Sure.
resources.
But
to
see,
live
like
off
to
of.
me, this de-incentivizes people.
No, incentivizes people. Well, okay, it doesn't de-incentivize.
Everybody's saying because the way I read it is
Mhm.
whether you work or not,
Yes.
we're going to give you $1,000 a month.
Yes. That's
So-
to stimulate. It's mostly about stimulating the economy too, creating jobs.
But I don't get how that create jobs because to me, there's a lot of people like a lot of people that listen to us that are like in friends like that live in California and
Mm-hmm.
places where we live. I know a whole lot of people that make less than $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
A month
Yeah, minimum wage makes about $1,200 a month.
Yeah,
bring
and-
home
yeah.
after taxes.
and survive on it. And if they're like, well, you're going to pay me $1,000 a month to sit on my ass and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw that during the Obama years when he started extending
Unemployment.
unemployment for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like the effect was we had the biggest unemployment rate in history.
Mhm.
And I knew personally 3 different people that I worked with that were part-time firefighters.
Mhm.
With the fire department. Well, 2 of them, and another one was just a friend. They worked their whole life, worked in factories. They've always been hard workers, and of course, during those years, all the National Standard, Garden City Fan, Tyler Refrigeration, Gibbs, all these places just
Bye-bye.
went out of fucking business during
Mm-hmm.
the Obama years. And then they got their unemployment and they would all come to the station every day. I'm like, I don't want to look for a job. Like we got it, and they all loved him for it.
Mhm.
But he's like, I'm getting this much more now for unemployment, and I get it for 2 fucking years. So why would I go look for a $10 an hour job when I can just do this for 2, for 2? And they did. Guys that have worked their whole life, like to me, like giving them money not to work,
Mhm.
like I see how it could be good on paper, but it also is de-incentivizing people to saying, well, why would I work when I get paid to not work?
Well, and the thing is, he chose $1,000 a month on purpose because $12,000 a year is just under poverty level.
Mm-hmm.
So even with this money, you're still living under poverty level. If you want to live that life, I believe you have the liberty to live a shitty life. Go
Uh-huh.
ahead.
Right.
But the rest of us are going to do something with it. Like if you work at McDonald's and make minimum wage, you make $1,200 a month, bring home after taxes. This is tax free. You just doubled your income.
Right.
You can get out of that shitty house.
For that hard
and
worker
shitty
that wants to do
yeah,
that.
man. This is incentivizing people to do work to get ahead. And you can work more hours or
See,
start your own business.
Are
or
there any
something.
kind of restrictions on? So, for example, what you just described,
Mhm.
that to me is a good thing. I still like, how are we going to pay for it? I'm like that with everything. That's just my nature. But like the family that's like struggling,
Mhm.
working hard, can't quite make it. Here's an extra $1,000 a month. Now maybe you can make it
per adult?
per adult.
not per house.
Right, per adult. Yeah. So if you got a
Husband and
working
wife.
couple that's $2,000 a month, that's all of a sudden now they can afford a nice house.
Yeah, they can go on a vacation.
I think that's great, but it's the people that are just do whatever little work they got to do to get by, and they're like, oh, well, I get my $1,000 a month,
and
I'm
also-
not going to work at all.
They're already doing it right now with welfare,
Well, agreed.
right? So we're just going to change the rules and say, okay, you can take, like, it doesn't affect housing. So you still have a house,
Right.
Like if you have public house, if you can get in it, then you got $1,000 a month to live off of, including your food. Or you don't take it, you stay on food stamps and you take your TANF and SNAP programs that help in WIC. Okay, that's the lifestyle you want to stay in. Stay in that lifestyle. Then it's on you. But if you want to choose, you can't.
But you got to choose one or the other.
You can't have both. So you can't have food stamps and this.
But would a guy like Zach, who makes $1 million a year drawing pictures on people,
12 million.
like, is he just as eligible for him and his wife?
Anyone
Obviously, I'm
over
joking.
18.
But like, so like, I
Donald
think
Trump
we're all
gets
here.
$1,000 a month.
Yeah. So like what like for the same people, I guess he's not one of them that are like, these rich horrible people, and they're like, why? There's no cap on
It's
that.
not means tested. No.
Yeah. So it's like, so someone who's obviously we're all like middle class guys, like just say, oh well, we get it too. We do I need it? No, but would I like it? Sure. Give me an extra couple grand.
For people like us, it's a tax deduction. It's a tax incentive. It's just
Right.
like a tax return.
Right.
And so you got to make over $120,000 a year to break even on this because you pay just as much in taxes. So that's about it. About 120 grand a year. You kind of just break. It's just a tax break.
But it's tax free money.
Right. So that's why it's like getting your tax return every month of $1,000. But most of us don't pay $1,000 in taxes a month. But some pay significantly more. They get their $1,000 too, but they've paid in a shit ton more. And what he says is, I want people like Bill Gates to remember they're still American too. You're American, $1,000 a month. So that way it doesn't get the stigma of like welfare.
Right.
So he wants to destigmatize welfare, make it universal. And it's an opt-in program. So
Here's my question for the opt-in. I mean, I have problems with it. I like maybe the idea where it comes from or where he's going with it. But where I see this being the big benefit is all of the homeless people across our country.
Absolutely.
So how does a homeless person with no bank account and no ID and nothing, how does that person...
That's the best question people ask. I love
Good.
it.
So is there a solution to that?
Yes, he has a policy. It's called post office banking.
Okay.
Because the post offices are pretty much not doing anything anymore.
Right.
We have this huge network and this system of people that handle money. They don't have much to do anymore because of Amazon and fucking FedEx.
Right.
He says, let's what do you call that? Dual incentivize the post office to stay open,
Right.
keep people jobs, and make them tellers, and just have simple. The P.O. box just also becomes like your place where all your banking is done at the post office. So you go there just to deposit your money, or have your freedom dividend deposited there.
Just as like a check in a P.O. box?
No, it's automatic.
Okay.
That's when you get a card, you get a basic account there. You just do checking. That's it. For homeless people. So that way you have a physical address. That's where all their mail goes, and they can use the debit card to access their money. Because they don't have a physical address, you can't get a bank account.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more problems to make that work, but I'm glad to hear that he's at least trying to figure a solution for that.
Right. That's his best case scenario he can figure out right now.
Yeah.
And that's just him off top of his head.
Right.
There's smarter people out there too that know how to do this, I'm sure. But the biggest problem with homelessness, they have no physical address. They can't get a bank account.
Right.
So he's like, okay, make the
And
post
see,
office
those are the
their
problems that
physical
are
address.
the big issues for me that I get really frustrated with a
Nobody
lot.
talks about them.
Yeah, well, or when they do, they talk about how we need to do something, and it's the orange guy's fault or whatever. But it's like again, most of the people on that stage are multimillionaires, and it's like why? And the biggest homeless problem we have in our country is in the city with the highest income per capita in our country.
San Francisco.
Yeah, well, San Francisco and L.A. both. They're terrible with homeless people. I mean, I work in L.A. a lot.
Yeah, I was just there, man. It's not pretty.
It's everywhere, and there's literally every single person driving by one of them in their Teslas are
Ferraris.
Yeah, multi millionaires. They also tend to be, when you look at the the map in an election, the red and the you look
the
at
redlining and the gerrymandering.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at the state of California, and it's all red except for these little blots of blue, where
Big cities.
yeah, the big cities where they get it. But I always think too is like it's that. By the way, always cracks me up because the party that's like we're for the poor people. All the blue dots where everybody's voting them are the richest cities in the fucking country.
Yeah, big cities.
The rich people.
Dense populations.
Point being, as I circle this around to some of the hypocrisy that drives me crazy, is like, why don't all of you, like some of the people I have pictures of in this room, you and you could all take a couple $1 million and have it not make a dent and provide housing for 500 of these people.
Yep.
Like it's like come on, talk about grassroots. Do something like somebody do something about that. That breaks my heart when I'm there. The homeless,
It's disgusting.
yeah, and that nobody gives a shit.
Richest country in the planet.
And it's in all the richest cities in the country, country in the planet, in all the richest cities in the country.
Have the biggest disparity.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's bad. Like I was in Chicago for a rally, and right across the street from the rally and on the exit is a homeless encampment along the exit ramp. Smelled like death.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
feel
good
so
gravy.
bad for I feel bad for homeless people anywhere, but the homeless people in like Chicago,
Got it rough.
like the reason it's so bad in San Francisco and LA is because it's fucking 72 degrees and sunny there all the time and doesn't rain. So they got a nice area to be like, I see those homeless people around Chicago in the wintertime. It's like, God, how the hell do they even live?
How did I just start walking?
You know
South.
that South Bend has one of the highest homeless populations in the Midwest too.
Oh, per capita. Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, this is the pandering and the stuff that I talk about. So we're not talking. Why we're not talking about homeless people? Because they're not fucking voting.
Exactly. And that's another thing. You can't get registered to vote if you don't have
have an
all these
address.
other things. You don't have an
Right.
ID
Right.
because you don't got no money.
Right.
That costs money too. And all these different.
But to me, it's like the homeless problem. This is a problem we can fucking fix. America can fix this problem. And the only reason we're not fixing this problem is because none of the politicians care about the homeless people because the homeless people don't vote. So fuck them. They'll talk about them every once in a while, and when they're throwing stones in a negative way, like,
Well, it depends on what neighborhood they're talking in.
yeah, so and so mayor of wherever, you suck because all your homeless people. That's why you should vote for me. But then you're going to get elected and have just as many.
It's not going to change.
Yeah,
Well, that's why UBI does address it. It's not going to fix it because there's still a mental health crisis.
a massive
That-
mental
that-
health crisis. Yeah,
To me, UBI the freedom dividend will highlight the problems. But the idea is that once you get that, then you're like, okay, now you're on the street still. What's your problem? You got $1,000.
yeah,
I mean, buy a fucking truck.
right.
Put a camper on that bitch. You're good to go.
Yeah, in a few months. Yeah, you could just pocket that for a few months.
Or like what I think about is if I'm gonna like there's 4 dudes, we're homeless, we have a tent.
right,
Then also we got $4,000 a month. Hey guys, let's go get a spot.
right.
Let's
Get
go
an
buy
apartment.
let's go buy 5 acres and put our tents there. Get the hell out of here. We're getting robbed and beaten up and killed and
Yeah,
murdered.
because that's the problem is too. That $1,000 a month ain't going to do shit in L.A.
Get the hell. I think it's going to make the cities. They're going to start reverse urbanizing. Everybody's going to go to the country to buy 5 acres,
Right.
which is a great idea. Start living off the land, man.
Yeah.
I think it should be more co-op farming.
Yeah. But
stuff
the problem
like
is,
that.
like you said, you've got a number of issues there. You do have a lot of mental health issues. You also have a lot of substance abuse issues.
Yeah, I consider that part of mental health.
Yeah. I mean, because there's a lot of, what we all need to be figuring out is why are those people homeless? What happened in this person's life and how can we help them? Because nobody chooses to live under a bridge.
Not 99% don't.
Yeah. I mean, somebody might.
There's some people that are just gypsies.
Right. I learned when I was in the UK last year that you're not allowed to say pikeys. Did you know?
That's like the derogatory term. Yeah,
I had
man,
no
for
idea.
gypsies. Yeah,
I thought it was.
they mentioned it in the movie, and it's a derogatory term for real.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I didn't know because they were talking about the gyp, and I apologize if there's any of you gypsies. I don't mean offense, but but yeah, they were talking about like for real, like whatever city we were going into, but in Scotland. No, you got to watch out for the gypsies, or whoever. And I was like, oh, like I've seen movies about them. What do they call them, the pikeys? And they're like, oh, you can't say that.
They're like, mate.
Yeah, they're like that's like saying the N-word
Yeah.
in America.
Very
Like,
offensive to them.
yeah, don't say pikeys. And I'm like, but they call them that in the movies all the time. I had no idea that was a
Yeah, the
racial
Ku
slur.
Klux Klan has movies too.
Anyway, there's your free bit for today, folks. Don't say pikey. It's
Or
As
the
they just said it 47 times.
or the N word.
right. Because it still doesn't feel dirty to me.
We should call it P word.
The P
The
word.
P
There's
word?
other P
Other
words.
P words, right?
It's not specific enough. Fair enough.
So this is I want to make sure we cover this as much as I don't know what else we can say about it, but this is the huge part of Yang's platform.
How do you pay for it?
Yes.
Okay. Value added tax is a significant portion of it. It is a consumption tax, which is being used by every other country in the world except for us and like Ghana.
Right.
Like,
But we do tax. I've read about it, but we do taxes weirdly. Like I always found like when we buy and sell cars, a weird tax for us.
yeah. Well, the thing is he says sales tax is sales tax. That's the end of the tax. You get one chance to capture tax money.
Except for
at
with
the same-
cars. When you sell it again, then you tax it again. And when you
Right.
sell it again, you tax it again and sell it again.
So a value added tax is like saying Amazon paid $0 in taxes last year. Zero.
Okay. Is that true?
Yes, zero. Technically, they got a tax refund of like a couple of $100 million.
That's a whole nother issue. Is the
Right.
fucking tax
So they get a
loopholes.
tax refund. So he's saying that's gonna take a long time to fix that. But until then, VAT tax says we're going to tax you on your transactions. to
Every
add
time
value.
every time value is added to the
A product.
right?
Yes. So let's say you have your transmissions built in wherever the hell that is, Pakistan,
Mm-hmm.
and you ship it over here to put it in your car. They're gonna capture that money on the way through.
Right.
That way you can't hide it in the Bahamas or Ireland.
Right.
That's the big thing. It's tax havens. He's like, no. Every transaction, we're gonna get you. And but the thing is, they can't.
Well,
do
it's
it
beyond
to-
even that. It's like so. Right down the road here is Gibbs Electric that makes wire
right.
for GM. You know, so it's like they make the wire, then they would tax the wire when they ship it to the plant that makes the alternator.
If
and
they
then
add
tax,
value.
and then they tax the alternator
Yeah.
when they sell it to the plant that makes the car, and then you know,
Yeah.
so it gets taxed along the way.
Well, in that
That's
way,
so confusing to me. I'm so confused by this.
Well, I'm actually got a guy coming on. He's gonna explain. He's from England. He lives in L.A. and his name's Steve. What up, Steve? You'll be watching. And he's like, that's what his job is. He's a value-added tax expert. That's what he does.
Okay.
And he's from England. He's been here for like 10 years, and that's what he does.
Right.
And so I'm gonna bring him on to explain it better.
Yeah. So the best way I can explain is maybe I can capture this is so if you're going to buy this soundboard, when you buy the soundboard from a store, you pay sales tax on it. But the person that made this soundboard bought a bunch of pieces.
Yeah, bought all the components. I get that.
Yeah, and but they didn't pay there's no sales tax on those pieces. And then the pieces that went in to make those pieces, there was no sales tax on those pieces. It just all that goes down, and you only pay sales tax on this. If I'm understanding the value added tax right, which is when somebody makes these little nuts and they sell them to the person that's going to make the inserts for those cords, they pay sales tax, kind of like a sales tax on those pieces. And so every step of the way, every time you sell anything, as long as you're adding value to it, you're making it part of something bigger, you continue to pay a tax.
And that's
along.
not already done.
No, you only pay
That's the
sales
problem.
tax at the end.
At the
Yes,
end.
yes. We only pay sales tax on the end.
The businesses don't.
They don't pay sales tax for wholesale products that they're building with.
Okay.
And so the thing is it's called what I've heard some talks about this is there's no tax business to business. There's business to people. B2P, not B2B.
Right.
So B2P is our sales tax.
Right.
B2B is nothing. That's where the value added tax comes in. Says we're going to capture 10% of that, and we'll generate like $980 billion
Right.
right out the gate. If nothing changes right now, that's how much we would have made last year. Almost $1 trillion right out the gate. And then also it's more on cost savings of not wasting so much money on food stamps and stuff like that. We're not paying these people. We're going to move that over here. And that's how you're going to kind of shift the money around and reprioritize your money.
Right.
And he's committed to stopping the endless wars. That'll save billions and billions and billions of dollars a year. And so those are the three big things he's saying. That's the beginning of how we pay for it. And then we're going to generate more business because the first thing we're going to do with the money is spend it in our neighborhoods. That's going to generate jobs here.
Right. Well,
The first thing I think about myself is it's just going to create inflation.
It's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
That's the biggest issue. Is yes, you're gonna now charge these businesses taxes. Now they're just going to charge more money on top of it, which at the end comes back to us.
Well, so like me, the end consumer, for the example we're using, this soundboard, I paid $1,000 for this.
Yeah.
If-
1,100 now. Is what you're saying. It should be 1,100.
1,100 or 12. You know, if every single part was taxed along the way, and so clearly now I'm going to have to pay for more of this. So now all of a sudden that $1,000 a month I got extra means less because everything I'm buying costs more.
Well, and it's not everything. He says the beauty of the VAT is that you can customize it and say it's not on everyday goods, toilet paper, toothbrushes, stuff like that. It's for the outside the normal spending for people with money.
Like people who buy soundboards.
It's especially $1,000 one.
I get fucked again.
You're going to get 10% on this, buddy. Thank you. But that's the premise of it. It's a consumption tax.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's if you consume above the norm.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know enough about it to really have a strong opinion about it. I mean, I feel like that's exactly what Zach said.
But when it comes to inflation happens when you print new money. We're not printing new money. We're just moving the same money to a new place and giving it to us instead of them.
Right, but inflation, I mean, there's clearly going to be an inflation of the cost of goods sold if the companies that are creating the goods are paying more. They're going to pass that cost on to the consumer.
Well, technically, not every business is going to be able to pass that on because of the free market.
Mm-hmm.
Some businesses like, you know what, we'll take a 5-cent hit on this.
Right.
The other one's going to be, we'll take 6. You know, like the free market's still going to keep that in check.
Right, but we're talking about only items on like more, right, like not toilet paper and things like that, right?
Yeah.
You know.
So if someone buys a yacht that's $2 million, it'd be $2.2 million
And
now.
fuck those rich bastards.
Right, and they're gonna pay $200,000 more dollars on a $2 million yacht.
Right.
That's a shit ton. That's a lot of UBIs for a lot of people on one transaction that we would never capture any other way.
Right.
Amazon bought a boat and they didn't pay taxes. That's how they bought a boat.
One day we're going to do an episode on the tax, because I don't, as far as we just need to tax the ultra rich more. I don't agree with stifling the economy in that way.
I don't think wealth taxes.
But I also don't think that that the loophole should be there. Like when people personally, I'm a proponent. It's not popular. I'm a proponent of a flat tax. Mm-hmm. You know, all the people
10%. Let's do it.
Whatever it is, 10%. Like the rich should pay more. They do. If you make $100,000, you're paying $10,000. If they make $1 million, they're paying $100,000.
Yep.
And get rid of all the fucking loopholes and all. But that's what I have the problem with is that they can figure out a way to not pay.
That's a problem.
Anything
with the current system. Many jobs, many business. The biggest businesses have the best CPAs to save the most money.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
I can't either. I pay.
We can't.
Like you said, most people don't pay $1,000 a month or a month in taxes. Like fucking NBI Studios does. Like, and I don't make that much money, but I've got a couple employees that do it. And,
oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I pay taxes through the fucking teeth.
Yeah, man.
And I'm happy to do it. I pay that's my job. You know.
But that's the thing. Like
I'm not happy to do it.
To me, $1,000. Well, nobody's smiling.
I mean, I'll do it.
Here, take more, please.
Yeah.
But to me, I think it's going to inspire people to do more stuff like this. Instead of getting a second job, do something creative.
Right.
You know, create something out of nothing.
We live in such an awesome time right now.
I'm 100% on board
when it comes to like content creation that we can just. I mean, obviously we're very blessed to have a very nice setup here, but this has been piecemealed over 5 years. You know, getting all this equipment and stuff. But like, literally anyone with a phone, can create a YouTube channel or a podcast.
This is my YouTube camera.
Yeah. And you can make, I mean, it's just, again, that's who you going to believe, me or your own eyes?
Right.
Thing. When they're like, everybody's suffering. Nobody's like, we live in a time where if you want to make money, like you can. Like you can do whatever you want.
You got to be willing to work, man.
I draw pictures for a living.
And
I
you make
legitimately
money.
draw pictures for a living. And I do okay for myself.
Yeah.
Like, we're not hungry.
I used to, and I just don't have the time anymore, but I like to do woodworking. And I used to make, when Becky and I got married, I made, she saw on Etsy like this cupcake stand that was like a slice of a log in tree branches. And she's like, I want that. And it's like $500. I'm like, $500? I can fucking make that.
For 40.
For nothing. I mean, for the cost of some epoxy. Like I went up to my dad's woods and cut down a cherry tree and, sliced it up
that way.
Built it. And then because of the internet and technology where we're at today, I said, well, I'm going to make myself a little Etsy store. I wonder how well I can do with that. I made almost as much doing that as I did at the fire department. Just selling selling cupcake. Like it's just a time where you can just create and you can just find a way if you have the. I mean, obviously, not everyone has the resources and stuff to do it, but the opportunities are there.
Well, it requires a skill set nonetheless.
Yeah, you got to be skilled at something.
So that's why, like you're saying, this is the time. And so this UBI, this freedom dividend, will allow people like us to, instead of, like, I had to get a job last year for 9 months to buy my equipment. I had to work 2 jobs, 80 hours a week for 9 fucking months.
Right.
So I could buy all my shit for cash because I don't do credit.
Right. I'm right there with you.
Credit cards. I don't have one. Kids like, go to Best Buy. I was like, if I can't afford it today, I still can't afford it tomorrow.
Right.
And if I bought this for $3,000, it's gonna be $5,500.
Yeah. If you ask my kids anything, whenever they're like, well, why don't we have this? Or if someone will ask me, if in their presence, well, why don't you do this? Or you could just get a loan for it or whatever. Quentin or Bell or whatever, be like, we don't borrow money.
Hey, good.
Like we don't.
Put that in their repertoire.
Yeah, we don't.
That's the thing. I just want, and plus, I took it as a moment to demonstrate to my kids, this is how you get ahead.
Right.
Not borrowing and hoping you make more money. You go make more money, then you buy it for cash, and it's value. You have value. You have an asset.
Well, you're not paying the bank.
Yeah. Buying a computer at Best Buy is a liability. It's not an asset yet.
Right.
You're worth less.
Right. That's your next free bit. We need to move ahead on this.
Yes.
I'm excited. I talk about all this, but there's something I really want to get into when we get there. But minimum wage. He says leave the minimum wage up to the state. I like that.
State by state, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a states' rights person.
I am as well.
Paid leave, like anytime any of these candidates like leave something to the states, I'm like, yes. Paid leave supports several months of broad paid leave, but that's very common. Most of the candidates, 6 of them, believe in that, are in support of that. Do you know? Is there anything particular about his plan?
His is 6 months per individual or 9 months for a couple. So if you and your wife have a baby, she can take off 6 months. You can take off 3 at the end as give fathers rights.
Right.
Hello. Or the mom can take the whole 9 months.
The question I had about this with Booker was, and I have it again, is what about the small company?
Small business.
Yeah, like is there a limit? Because like
it's gonna hurt. That's gonna be a tough policy for some people.
It'll put me out of business.
Yeah.
So Mike is engaged. He's getting married in the fall. If him and his wife have a baby and is like, well, I'm taking 6 months off paid, I'm bankrupt.
Oh, not from you though. The employer doesn't pay that. That's a federally financed program he's talking about.
So they're not saying that the employers have to pay.
Not 100%. I think there's gonna be a percentage.
Yeah.
Just like
See, my understanding was that the employers
FMLA
were going to be required to.
Well, there's still FMLA, which is 3 months,
right?
12 weeks. And so this is.
But with
just an
FMLA,
extension.
you still have to use your time coming to you to get paid.
So that doesn't change. He's extending. He's saying that's not going to change. You just keep doing business as you do. But the federal government should guarantee more time off to give better quality.
And so they're paying it because like I took FMLA
federal
when my kids were born. I took paternity leave for a few weeks when both my boys were born.
Me too. Yep.
Yeah, and
What's this shit?
Well, now I'm self-employed like you. You don't
I got hosed.
Yeah, right. Well, but what I had to do was at the fire department I had to fill out form for FMLA.
You got it.
And I was going to take 3 weeks off, but they don't just pay me. I had so much sick time accrued, and my vacation time accrued, and I could use that to get paid while I was off.
To get paid 100%.
To get paid, and for us, it was if I didn't have that, like I could take it off unpaid, and basically they're saying you can take it off and you can have your job back when you get back, but we're not paying you unless you use your time to get paid. But that doesn't sound like that's quite what this is.
Well, there's not enough details.
Yeah.
Again, this is an ideology policy, I think, to say this is I'm thinking forward like this, but I don't see a way of getting there yet. I don't personally.
Yeah. So he said what it says here is Andrew Yang calls for at least 9 months of paid parental leave per couple and at least 6 months for a single parent, like you said.
Yeah.
While he doesn't explicitly propose paid sick leave, his platform includes a mandatory vacation policy to allow workers to take time away from their jobs.
For it. Except for I'm self-employed. And
Right, me too.
Pay
Yeah, we don't
yourself to
work.
take your time off.
Don't work, don't get paid. Side note, now that I have insulated that wall over
It's
there,
hot as fucking
it's
here.
hot as fuck.
Yeah, you're a little moist.
I know. God, I need somebody to come in and powder me. We're finally finishing the construction in our offices here, and that wall has never been soundproofed. It is now. It's also heat proofed.
It's a breath proof. What you looking for?
I don't know where it is. There it is.
Take care of that right now.
Yeah, but how much noise is that going to make?
Doesn't matter. No, it doesn't. As long as I don't have the turbo on, it's fine.
The turbo.
What's this guy's name? I call him
Mike.
this guy.
Mike.
Mike will fix it.
Yeah.
We do that too much too, Mike. Don't worry, Mike will fix it. That's blowing hot air.
Post-production.
Oh, wait, no, I just turned it down. Oh, let me just turn the fan down on it. There, nice. Is it blowing cold air now?
No.
Oh,
It might take a minute.
I got to tell you something.
It's closing.
I fucked up.
Yeah, that one's on heat out there.
That one's on heat out there. They can't be on different things because they're on the I don't know what's going to happen next, but it didn't help the situation. Fuck. It just broke everything. Anyway, let's get through it.
For it.
So next,
Well, his big three is Medicare, human-centered capitalism, and
what was that?
Medicare, human-centered capitalism, saying that people over corporations type of thing. To say that we value people more than giving all the breaks to the big companies. We need to give people a break here.
Okay.
So it's an ideology. It's not a necessarily a policy. His summation of policies is humanity first. Like,
Sure.
take care of people. Corporations are going to be just fine. They're doing good. You know.
Well, I'll be honest with you though, that stuff scares. Like, I love the idea of that, obviously, but it scares me just because I've seen the ebbs and flows over the years. When we start saying the corporations are rich and they'll be fine and fuck them, they'll be all right. All of a sudden, next thing you know, you have 14% unemployment rate because the corporations are the ones that are fucking employing everybody.
Right.
And if you take away that incentive, and again, I'm back and forth on it because like I said, I don't think they're paying enough taxes. I do think that they need to pay their fair share. But I also, let's be real. Most of America works for a fucking corporation. And the greedy millionaires or billionaires out there, that are getting rich making a widget, the only way to get richer, if they're so greedy, is to make more widgets.
And pay less.
But the only way to make more widgets really is to hire more people to make more widgets.
Well, that's the thing. Automation is going to change that whole formula. Where you don't need any more people to make widgets.
Right.
Like, cars are not made by people anymore. Like he says, that's his whole shtick on immigration. He goes, you go to Detroit to Flint, you go in the factory, you don't see wall-to-wall immigrants, you see wall-to-wall robots.
Right.
That's the problem. Now, this company's making money off a robot, not taxing that robot. There's no more me and us working there. It's a robot, doesn't pay taxes. There's no income tax being collected, nothing.
Right.
So
Which
you
is
shouldn't need a
smart.
tax.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can't deny that it's smart for a corporation to do that, but it sucks.
That's part of your job. How do you save money? How do you make more money and get you go up in the company by doing your job? He's not anti-capitalist. He's a capitalist.
Right.
Pure and simple. But he's saying they're going to capitalize anyway. We might as well capture on the way up. That's all. And we can't demonize people for being wealthy. That's another one that Elizabeth Warren and Bernie really get beat up on because they're demonizing people for being rich.
And I have not seen Yang do that.
No, he's the opposite. He goes, people aren't bad because they're rich.
Right.
They just did it better. That's it. Now, some screw a lot of people over on the way, but that's just a business. We created this system.
It's more blessed, but we're all striving to do better. Like everyone is striving to do better, make more money. And that's one thing I like about him is he's not, the demonizing them.
Right.
But
don't demonize immigrants. Don't demonize wealthy people.
But I want to learn more about the VAT, the value added tax.
Yep.
Because if he can find a way to fairly have these corporations pay a fair tax, but without, man,
it's being done by every other country already. The model's already been demonstrated.
Right, but like in the UK, like I mentioned, they pay the equivalent if you take American dollars.
They pay 20%.
If you take American dollars and like a gallon of gas, like because they're liters and but if you in pounds, but they're paying $9 a gallon for gas, and they're paying 60-some% is their tax rate when it's all over with. The little middle class people that I was with, and they didn't we were going through it all because I was like, how does it work? Because they're like, oh, we have free university and we have free this and we have free healthcare and it's universal and it's all.
You pay a butt ton of lot more.
Yeah, they were all bitching about the quality of their healthcare, but we can just go that it's free. It's crazy that you guys pay for that. But then we were like,
It's crazy you pay those taxes.
yeah, it's like right, but you're paying 60%, and just not a rich millionaire paying like just a barely getting by, works at a hair salon, paying 60% taxes to make all that work, and $9. Like I don't want us to get there.
No.
I don't want to pay $9 a gallon for gas.
We won't get there. We'll have a goddamn upheaval.
Right.
We got shit over
become the
$4.
wild, wild west because we got all them guns.
When it became $4, we were like,
oh, I thought for sure like it was going to start being
I'm walking.
people were going to start riding horses again.
I'm walking.
Mm-hmm.
You pick me up.
Some of the stuff, charter schools, he supports charter schools accountability. Cost of college, he is the only candidate that says college shouldn't be free.
Right.
Which again, I like because he's realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And he got beat up for that a couple debates ago.
Yep.
Because it was him, wasn't it, when was it?
Well, because Bernie and Elizabeth like free, period, bam.
Right, and Warren's like, I don't think we should be. He made a great argument. He's like, listen, we're talking about doing things that we just cannot do. We cannot pay for all this. It's not reasonable. And let's be honest, it's never going to happen, even if they get elected. Even if Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders gets elected, this shit isn't going to happen. These are campaign promises.
That's the thing. That's what I mean about electable. There's getting elected policies.
Right.
Like federal jobs guarantee. Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here. And like Andrew Yang really kicks Bernie's ass sometimes on this. He goes, no one's aspiring to work for the government.
Right. I did it for 15 years.
Most people are
thank
not
you.
aspiring to get, and not just that, be assigned a job.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants that. And then
Sounds like communism.
It sounds like it's too much red tape being on top of more red tape. And who decides that?
Right.
Who's this psycho that gets the job to be the czar?
As Ronald Reagan said, I'm from the government. I'm here to help. The scariest words you ever want to hear. Yeah. Right.
Pull down your pants and cough.
Yeah. But I like that because he's being real. Like, sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I have 4 kids. You think I don't want free college?
I would benefit significantly.
Yeah. Bring it on.
But
I'm also not stupid. Like, I know that it's not possible. This
you
can't.
have to pay 30% income tax to do that.
Yeah. This can't happen. It's not reasonable. And I like that Yang is like he is very left leaning in a lot of his policies. But I think he's smart about how he's trying to balance the budget and things like this that are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're literally nothing but a campaign promise. That is never going to happen. It can't happen. It can't, especially can't happen with everything else they want to give you
Well,
free.
it can't get through Congress.
No,
So it doesn't matter.
it would never happen.
You know, like, okay, I want to run for president, and I think everybody should get I won't say what I'm thinking. I'll just say some.
Go back to
I'm gonna say some really messed up stuff.
Go back to the fifth grade student council. Vote for me for president. We'll get new monkey bars.
Yeah, 2 lunches.
Yeah, 2 lunches,
like,
right?
You know,
Pop
so
machine.
yeah, like it's that type of stuff where sure you can say it,
But
but
it's
you
never-
cannot follow up on that.
No. Especially because I really think, like I said, with this after this impeachment, unless something drastically changes in the next 11 months, I think that we're going to see a Republican. Now, thanks a lot, fucking assholes. We're going to see a Republican sweep of the House and the Senate.
That's what I'm worried about.
I can almost guarantee you that's going to happen. Because now it took all the sleepers that are like, I don't really care about the politics, I don't know, whatever. And now they're awake and they're like, this is what your party's going to do? Like, this is what you're wasting our time and money on?
Well, that's the thing. Like, they got your attention now, and it's not good. So now I'm paying attention, and all I see is glaring hypocrisy.
But,
With Joe Biden running for president while you're impeaching someone else for doing the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
And he's leading.
Have you seen Biden's like every time I see a video of him lately at one of his rallies, and he's walking around like whispering, talking shit to old dudes?
Running up on him?
Every time he's walking, it's like, well, I don't know what you think about that, but I'll have a push-up contest with you. It's like, what are you doing?
He goes,
dude?
listen here, fat.
He did. He called that guy fat.
He didn't call him fat. He called him, he is fat.
Right, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's his name. That's his, hey, listen here, fat.
But it's I didn't know the man's name was Fat.
He named him fat.
Oh my god.
Then he challenged him to a push-up contest.
Yeah.
I missed all of this.
Have
Dude,
you guys
I do not
seen
pay
it?
attention to politics.
Have you guys
whatsoever.
seen his video? Someone animated it now. It's very funny about him talking about his golden leg hairs and a guy named Corn Pop. Internet, listen up. Google Biden's golden leg hair and corn pop. I just made your day.
Jesus Christ! I just realized we're an hour and a half in.
Holy shit.
I'm
We got some editing to do.
I'm dripping in sweat. We don't
a
edit.
sauna
That's
now.
the bad part. It's gonna,
Oh, baby.
So we're gonna squeeze through these
Okay.
real fast. We've hit the big ones. Campaign finance. It says unlimited spending should not be allowed. Agreed. Oh, real quick, and we're just gonna electoral college. Your thoughts?
It needs to stay in place because you don't
I
have
agree.
You're just going to ignore the entire. We're going to be flowing over.
Right. And to be clear, that's also Andrew Yang believes it should stay in place. And like my thing with it, I was ready to have a debate with you about it.
He was really hoping. He was really hoping.
It's
you were-
logical.
Well, because I like when people are.
It's in the Constitution. It's not the Constitution, but it's been in law for a long time for a good reason.
Yeah. Well,
You can't.
my
ignore
thing is like
someone
when
in
people
Montana.
people talk about like Trump isn't legitimate because he lost the popular and he won the electoral college, and then people are like, so he's legitimate. Hillary would have won if it was popular. It's like, no, she wouldn't have. Like they were playing the game by the rules.
Right.
So, for example, Donald Trump didn't campaign in California at all because it doesn't matter because
bother.
L.A. and San Francisco and San Diego are going to win the state, even though the majority vote Republican. If they're going to go by popular vote, then
He'll be there.
he would be there. And a lot of those people, because I also know people that live in Northern California, they don't even vote.
Don't bother.
Why vote if it doesn't like the game would change? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, the electoral college is there for a reason, so you can't ignore the people of Montana. The people of Montana become the homeless vote.
Right.
What are
Exactly.
you talking about? I don't care what they think about Montana. It's 14 electoral college votes. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
There's 400 in California.
Right.
415. It's ridiculous.
California. I love how California is always called 1 minute after the polls close.
Mhm.
Every year, it's like the polls have closed in California. California's been called for the Democrat. I mean, it's like they
We're gonna call it.
like they literally like pull out the first ballot. It's like, yeah, well, then fuck it. They're all going to be. Like, we're done.
He's the asshole of the group, too. It's obvious.
Felon voting, again, this is one I'm very passionate about, and I agree with Andrew Yang wholeheartedly. He says that we should restore the voting rights after prison.
Yep.
Once you
And
serve-
probation and the whole 9 yards. Yep.
He's in support of nuclear power. I agree with that.
Thorium.
For it, what'd you say?
Thorium. Thorium is a weapon, a nuclear technology can't be made into a weapon,
Right.
and it can't melt down.
Yeah. I heard. It was at the debates he was talking about that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, thorium, what's that?
Yeah.
like-
So it was. I don't know much about it other than what he mentioned, but
Yeah.
it's rather than using uranium.
It's a saltwater reactor, and it's a different type. It's a uranium, just a different number. It's more stable. Like uranium 23 or some crap they have right now. It's gonna be like 24.
Yeah, and you
whatever the
can't
hell
use
is.
it to make a
And it
weapon.
can't make a weapon. So then you can help other countries get green. So you can go to Africa and be like, don't put those coal thingies from China.
You know, I'm
Get in
amazed.
bed with us. We'll give you a thorium reactor.
I'm amazed that most people around the country don't really understand. We understand nuclear energy because there's a giant
there's two
nuclear
of 'em.
plant. You're
And I
right
got
down
one in
the-
Covert too, where I'm at.
Yeah,
It's like I'm in the middle of both. I'm dead.
yeah, maybe. But see, like for me being in the fire department, I worked in them. We had to do drills
yeah.
and stuff all the time. Like all that's happening is there's the fission reaction, the fission.
The rods.
Yeah, they're just rods that are reacting, and that reaction creates heat. And all they do is they take for in our case, like Michigan, is they pour water over it, which keeps them cool. But the steam that shoots out of that when it boils it turns a turbine and makes electric.
Really fast.
That's all that happens. It's
There's
just
a ton of nuclear plants around here too.
Yeah.
My family's been in nuclear for 40 years.
yeah, it's a super duper clean. I mean, obviously you're always worried about a meltdown.
Yes.
Just could happen. Like Chernobyl, hello. Which, by the way, did you guys see that documentary? Or the it wasn't a documentary,
Yes.
but that series,
Awesome.
Chernobyl on HBO.
Awesome.
I don't know if I saw that one. I saw a
No, it
different
was
one.
on Netflix.
Was it a Netflix one?
Yep.
Dude,
Oh, maybe I've seen it then.
it's
on
it's
Netflix.
it's a scripted show, so it's dramatized,
It's a reenactment.
but it was pretty close to so good, so fucking.
I watched
good.
the one where they went in, like the actual documentary where they go in.
This is like a recreation.
No,
Yeah.
okay, the one I watched.
If you
was-
watch the documentary and you're interested in it, watch Chernobyl.
but I don't watch docudramas. Shit, I
You'll-
can't stand it.
Watch it this
Remember how
time.
many times we've talked about this?
I know. Quit being a baby. Watch it. Redhead.
God damn it.
Listen here, Ginger.
Not a redhead.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna shut up because I'm gonna try and get a tattoo from you. So I'm not
Not
gonna
a redhead.
piss off the artist.
He'll hurt you. He'll forget to put ink on it and just grind your whole
Well, he'll be
fucking
like,
arm.
he'll be like, TJ, that doesn't hurt, does it?
Look at it. Everybody, right now, look at Zach
He's
on the
fluffing
video.
up his beard.
It's red.
It's not red.
Ginger.
It's two-toned.
It's two-toned.
It's lighter up top.
You can at least see where I'm coming from, right?
It's reddish at the lip area, and then it gets a little darker.
It's like hot sauce.
It's like a deep,
That's all that game fuel.
deep ginger at the chin.
Look up here, guys.
Well, yeah, the big bald spot on top of your head isn't red.
Yeah, that spot is white.
We'll see when we go to. We're going to Mexico for our NBI vacation in February.
Get cooked.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna take his shirt off, and I'm gonna see his red chest hairs.
I don't plan on leaving the hotel room.
Oh, you and the missus are gonna.
No, she's gonna go. I'm gonna sleep.
Oh. Okay. Backed. Getting a little punch drunk here. He wants to end oil and gas leases on federal land and end offshore drilling.
Yep.
I have mixed emotions about that. I want to get because we're moving along. I like us being energy independent.
Mm-hmm.
Also, don't
Well,
like
he's
spraying
again,
all the baby ducks with oil, though.
right. He's like saying this is part of the thorium thing. If we get thorium, we don't need that.
Sure, if we have nuclear everywhere, if we
good
can
to go.
figure out a way to get thorium to drive my truck, then hell yeah, let's do it.
They tried it. Just
Did
one
it-
car did that.
Did it blow it up?
I don't know. It didn't work
The
out.
mushroom cloud from somewhere in
it
Phoenix,
didn't-
Arizona.
It didn't become mass produced. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way.
I saw that car that drove by that stuff.
Yeah.
Went back in time.
It was a
jumping
DeLorean.
It was a DeLorean.
Right. The
They went
flux
back in time.
capacitor.
How many gigawatts that thing make?
1.21 gigawatts. Tax. He wants to tax carbon emissions. Farming and climate change, and endorse urging Americans to eat less meat as a way to combat climate change.
Fuck that.
No, thank you.
I'm eating
Yeah.
more now.
I like my chicken and beef and
But for real though, it's a real thing that cow farts
are significant.
they're like significantly fucking up our ozone layer.
Significant.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's
it really
why-
is weird. I'm like, damn.
You know what? That's why people should hunt and eat deer. It's
That's
leaner,
true.
it's healthier.
Elk.
And you don't feed them or elk. You don't feed them a bunch of garbage that causes them to fart and ruin the ozone layer.
They're already out there.
I've got a couple of them in the freezer out there. I had a
Oh,
good
yeah.
year. Andrew Yang's views on assault weapons.
So we actually did. We did a whole episode. I did a whole episode with him on that.
Yeah.
We broke down the whole thing.
Well, good. Watch that on the Mindful Skeptic, and you can hear Zach's full views on it. We'll do it here one day, but it's 2 hours in. But he supports a voluntary buyback program. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the voluntary one.
Right.
You can't do mandatory.
Also,
It would never work.
Also, do
It's
they
not legal.
have someone actually there?
Unconstitutional.
Do they have someone there that knows what a firearm is? Because I've seen these buyback programs where people make they put some PVC together
And they buy them.
and they take them back and they're like, here's $100.
Like a cork gun.
Yeah,
Right.
A
essentially.
potato gun. I'm gonna assault you.
He, along with 26 other candidates, are in favor of universal background checks. Fine with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
In favor of a gun licensing program. Fine with that. Like I don't have any problem with
All legal gun owners have no problem with that stuff.
right, and that's the problem. It's like when you legislate,
Yeah.
most of your gun control laws are legislating for the people that are law-abiding citizens and aren't doing anything illegal with their guns. Abortion, few limits, if any. That's a whole other topic for another day, but that's what he believes. Affordable Care Act, the abortion that it was. He's for. It says he wants to build on the ACA's foundation.
Yeah.
So-
He's just saying he wants to do Medicare for all with the caveat of having the public option.
He
You keep your
he
insurance.
opposes Medicare for all.
A single payer.
Yeah. Well, let me see what it says
That's
here.
different.
So his view on Medicare for all says he opposes Medicare for all, but would expand coverage.
So when they use the term Medicare for all, they're letting Bernie have ownership of that with a single payer.
All right.
And Yang's like, no, because there's people that have private insurance that have worked hard to get that and have
Right.
a union job that they fought for, a teacher or whatever.
Right.
They should keep it. If they don't want it, don't keep it.
Right.
Freedom. That's it.
Makes sense.
Freedom. Freedom of choice.
When he says build on the only foundations in the ACA that I liked, obviously the pre-existing conditions was a good thing. The preventative, 100% preventative coverage, I think that's smart. I
That's
think
the big one.
I think chiropractic should be a big part of that. I think people don't give that enough credit for how much it helps your health to do preventative chiropractic care. But that's pretty much all I liked out of the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah. It was a push. It was a rush job.
Yeah. It was to me. It was
a mess.
Yeah. Anyway, again, topic for another day.
Yeah.
I don't like the Affordable Care Act.
This is Bob Ruff.
In case you, the views and opinion of me only represent me, and I don't like it.
My bank account suffered.
Garbage. DACA, he's in favor of citizenship for dreamers, which most of the other candidates are as well. And this is where we talked about this already, the illegal entry. He says he wants to repeal the statute that makes coming into the country a criminal act without going through the proper process.
Right.
Which,
That's what I was saying. Like, it's not criminal court, it's civil court.
right. But
Yeah, I know. There's a problem.
yeah, it's a problem for me, but that's just me. But for you to know, that's what he wants to do. But then, interestingly enough, his next policy is he wants to back funding for building the wall as long as immigration experts recommend it.
Yeah, well, it's only on recommendations. Like the current walls that we have already were there because of the same thing. El Paso, Texas should have a fence
Yeah.
because of San Juan. Like it's obvious.
Right.
You need a physical barrier here.
This side of Juarez,
Yeah.
we should have a barrier.
Or I'm sorry, Juarez. Yeah, not San Juan. I'm thinking
Yeah.
like Puerto Rico or some shit.
But
Wrong island.
at least I like the idea that he's, again, forward thinking. Instead of just saying because it's the popular thing to say, like, we don't need a wall that's racist to build a wall. You're like, well, let's get some experts and figure out if we need a wall.
Right.
Transportation, boost infrastructure, spending for public transportation, but he does not have any funding mechanism.
Yeah, as again,
Yeah.
it's a thought project. Really.
Yeah. Where they need public transportation is fucking Los Angeles, speaking of LA.
Yeah, LA sucks.
It's a nightmare. They should take a note from New York.
Well, Elon Musk is building or boring a tunnel.
Right. When he was on Joe Rogan, he was talking about this. Like, we're just making the tunnel.
It's boring.
It's like, how do
it's called the Boring Company.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, he's like, are you getting like licensing and permits? And he's like, we just
went to the city.
went to the city, so we're going to dig a tunnel. He's like,
500 feet down.
yeah.
So an earthquake won't touch it. Nothing.
Yeah. It's bananas, but they're building a tunnel. They need to because it's bad because the traffic out there is a nightmare. Marijuana, he says to legalize it. Agreed.
And expunge records.
Yep, and the marijuana conviction to expunge the record, which I also agree with.
Nonviolent. Yeah.
Defense spending. He wants to slash the defense budget. Says a sizable, and him and 7 other candidates have that position. Says a sizable number of Democratic presidential candidates are doves with long track records of advocating deep cuts in the Pentagon budget in order to pay for what they consider more important domestic programs or diplomatic initiatives.
I think that goes hand in hand with ending the forever wars.
Right.
We don't need to spend $1 trillion a year in the war.
Well, I would like to know what the defense spending is because I do, I am on the side of that we need to have a strong military. Like, I don't think we need to go I think we're in a whole bunch of places we don't need to be in.
Yeah.
But I don't want anybody coming here.
Right. I just don't think it costs $760 billion a year to do it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's less money than we're going to give everybody just for nothing.
40% of the budget. It is less. Yes, it is.
Like, ouch.
It's significantly less. Yes.
Right. But he said overseas deployments. He says to keep the troops deployed. Let me see what it says here. Other 7 candidates have similar views. Other candidates have urged restraint, warning that allies in nations such as Afghanistan and Iraq still need American military support. Withdrawing all U.S. troops, they assert, could be a great mistake and only make this situation worse, which I agree with. Like, there's some of the problem is there's places we probably shouldn't be, but now we're there. And then
we can't leave.
Well, we saw what happened when we did
Syria.
the last time. Yeah, and then we created ISIS.
That was Gaddafi. They butchered him in the streets.
Right, but when we
created ISIS,
we created an infrastructure that was completely reliant on our troops to support it, to be the glue that held it together, and then pulled out, and there was this massive vacuum. It's like you have a whole army, and you take all the generals away. I'm like, "Well, see you guys later." And what are we gonna do now? And then
you do it.
The neighbor's army comes on in. That's my little analogy there. I'm so sweaty. I'm dying. I'm wishing I wasn't wearing this flannel. And I don't know what happened to the heating system when I turned it on. I feel like nothing's working now.
Yeah, you killed it all.
But it definitely did not turn on the air conditioner like I wanted it to.
No. Fail.
We'll have to remember that for our next recording to turn them on to air before.
Yeah.
Less clothing.
Capital gains tax. He wants an increase in the capital gains tax rate.
I don't even know what the hell that. I don't know enough about that either.
Well, I mean, I don't know what he wants to increase it to. Ending the capital gains breaks for those with household income above. So there's different breaks you get for capital gains, like if you sell a house or whatever. But if it's complicated tax situations.
Right.
But basically, I think it's him. But yeah, him and is basically if you make over $250,000 a year, you don't get a break and you pay the 15% or whatever the capital gains tax is on everything.
Yeah.
The value added tax we've talked about. And Wall Street taxes create tax on financial trades. This is interesting, and I like this.
That's a big one too. Big money.
To get some money back in to fund some of this stuff. It's he supports a 0.1% tax on Wall Street on trades, stock trades
Per trade.
Right. So if you trade,
Doesn't sound like much, but
if you trade $1,000 stock, that's
$1.
a dollar. That you pay in taxes, which right now you don't pay anything on those for taxes.
Okay.
So it's a
Considering there's $30 trillion in the stock market right now.
yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so that could generate some money in a small way, and at least it's you're getting something for it. You know what I mean? You're paying taxes for what you're doing, as opposed to like an arbitrary. We're going to tax you an extra 10%, saying, well, if you're doing this, then as you're doing this, you're going to pay more for it, and you understand the rules of the game. Whew, gosh, almost in here. Online privacy. Users should have property rights to their data. Okay. Rural broadband, looser broadband promises, which was the same thing that Booker said, and I don't know what all exactly that means.
I don't know. I think he wants to say like the internet should be available for everyone, not just cities.
Yeah, like
He
here,
somehow incentivize the yeah.
like here would be nice.
Yeah. Incentivize the companies to be like, hey, if you can't get it, well, maybe we'll help pay for some of the infrastructure to get everyone covered
Yeah.
fairly. Yeah.
Social media, he says that we should consider holding companies legally liable for user posts. It's a whole nother can of worms.
That sounds weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Like, according to what?
Like I understand it is like
slander or what?
like if I'm making posts that are causing problems, that Mark Zuckerberg would be liable for it, which would encourage them to create on
more censorship,
algorithms and censorship. Yeah, so I don't particularly like that to get that stuff off the internet. Tech competition and antitrust. The tech giants should break themselves up. That sounds like a whole big thing. These were the things that we didn't understand last time. Well, the USMCA, I do. So he demands changes to USMCA, which we just had the new compromise bill that Pelosi just like the day after they impeached Trump, like an hour later, they're like, we passed the USMCA.
We needed all
trade
of one
bill.
day to get this done.
See, we do stuff
When we get what we want.
Yeah.
That's a power move, man.
Yeah, but nobody seems to like it. None of the candidates have really signed on to the new compromise bill. And then the TTP 2.0, support for joining CPTPP.
Oh, this thing again.
Right. Which, for it. I'm
it.
for it.
For it.
That
Someone please tell us what it is.
I don't care.
No, I do. Someone tell me what it is.
I'm for it.
That, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of our episode on Andrew Yang. I smell myself at this point. I'm dripping in sweat. The new insulated wall has really created, it's doing its job.
It is doing its job.
But Boyce, thank you, man, for coming in. This has been awesome. We'll have to have you back
Always.
for some more political topics if things move along.
I'll promise to come back in January of 2021 when he wins. We'll
Okay.
talk about how we got there
Then we can celebrate.
and how my channel exploded because I started making content and
Right. Now everybody wants to know who Andrew Yang is. Yeah.
And what's your channel again?
Mindful Skeptics podcast.
Gotcha.
All social media is that way too. SEO optimized.
What does that mean?
Like
Boomer.
you can put.
I'm a boomer.
No, I mean like if you go to any social media, it's all the same. Mindful Skeptics podcast. It's not like
Gotcha.
Z to the Q or whatever. You got to keep making up different things. And
Right, yeah.
It's hard to follow you.
And if you want to follow us, it's at Bob Weave Pod on all forms of social media.
There it is.
What he said.
Yeah, because that's SEO optimized.
I had to look that up too. I was like, well, they're like, you should optimize it. I'm like, how?
Yeah, shut up. I don't know what that means, so I'm gonna take it as disrespect.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that is a wrap. Boyce, again, thank you so much for coming on. We'll definitely have you back again. Appreciate you. Go check out the Mindful Skeptics podcast YouTube channel and check out his
Yes,
Yang
sir.
content.
And you guys will see some serious Yang influence here.
Send us your Yangs.
They're gonna be yanging it over here. Trust me. We're gonna let our Yang out.
Zach, thanks for being my friend.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.